In 5, 4. Oh, Kozaburo. Hi, everyone. You like this hat? You like Kozaburo? Are you interested in winning the hat, but not the bear?
Sorry, not the bear. If you would like to win the hat, but not the bear, we can talk about that later. First, we would like to talk to you about our pop-up with Komune and Kozaburo. Komune, obviously, love those guys a lot. One of our favorite places in New York. Kozaburo, absolutely obsessed with that brand. We're having a pop-up with them April 11th, 12th, and 13th. There will be events sort of throughout that weekend. The 12th is going to be a workshop of how they make these hats, and the 13th is going to be an indigo dyeing lesson. You can stop by pretty much the entire time and shop Wave of Sand or Kozaburo or Phantom Ranch, which is the 3 branches of Kozaburo. You can also talk to anyone and get one of these hats custom made. If you bring your own hats, they will just sort of like do the cutting up for you and then give you the 2 or the 3 hats that you make out of those combinations. It's cool. Come do that. Come hang out. And then also, if you would like to just win this Bocabola Phantom Ranch hat, Coca-Bola,
It just says
Cobbla. It says Cobbla.
Yeah. If you'd like to win the Cobbla hat, head over to herohero.co/POK. They got my boy Rilakuma. Head over to herohero.co/POK. All subscribers are automatically entered to win one of the Kozaburo hats, the Kozaburo hat. It's as easy as going over and signing up one more time at herohero.co/POK. Here is the episode. 30 seconds. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. On this episode, we are joined by Dave Macklovitch of Chromeo to talk about his personal style, some current fashion trends that are invigorating, ones that are bad, and music in general. We hope you enjoy, and here is the theme song.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside your trunk? I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off my hump, 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 my lovely little mouth. Check it out.
Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. I'm your host, Saul Thompson. You can find me on Instagram at Saul Thompson. I'm joined this week not only by my wonderful co-host.
Hey, what's up? I'm Michael Smith. I am on Instagram somewhere, and today we are joined by Grammy-nominated, Billboard-topping, known musician, SLP soldier, Dave Dave 1 of Chromeo. How's it going?
Wait, what soldier?
SLP, Saint Laurent Paris soldier?
Oh, wow.
Would you consider yourself an SLP soldier?
I'm a no-limit soldier.
No limit soldier.
That's it.
Just a soldier, just a regular soldier. Dave 1 of Chromeo, among other bands.
How are you, Dave?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're getting real biblical on the podcast. We got Dave and Solomon and Michael.
And
I guess.
Michael.
Yeah. And I really like that name. I wanted to name my kid that if I have a son one day.
You can bite the swag.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
All right, thank you.
You have the stamp of approval.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great name.
Michael's also available if you need it, but
We'll see. But Solomon's fire. They're really
Solomon
good.
Joseph,
Yeah.
Michael David.
Yeah.
There you go.
Those are your
Biblical.
second names?
Yeah.
You're David too? I'm David Nathaniel.
Nice.
Nice. Nathaniel's not biblical, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
All the names that end with EL, I think, like the EL suffix, like Daniel or whatever, I think that's all biblical.
I just can't picture a biblical Nathan. You know?
No, there's no biblical Nathan,
There's
but I
just
think there's a
Nathaniels.
biblical Nathaniel.
Yeah. No, I'd
There's
buy
no
it.
biblical Nate.
Yeah. Archangel Mike. You
That's
know?
hard.
Yo.
Archangel Mike. I like
Comes
that.
down and punches a hole in your wall.
No, it just ghosts you.
Just goes, hell yeah. That's what
Archangel
I'm known for.
Wyatt.
Hey, so about that Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think it's mine. It's a lot like that. Anyways, I think we should... Saul, you doing good?
I'm great.
We should lead things off with a fit check. Find out
I
whatever...
hate those.
Why? You got that shit on.
Yeah.
I know.
It's too much.
They're regretful, I know.
Yeah.
We don't.
What do you
have-
want to? What do you guys want? Like the brands and stuff?
You can
Yeah,
list
just what are you
brands if you
wearing?
want, or you can just tell us what you got on. It's
Okay.
so Saul, you can lead.
Sure.
We can save you for
Oh,
last.
so you guys do like? Okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I have a pair of red Guidi boots that I keep thinking that I'm going to sell, and then I don't.
Don't tell him.
A pair of Girbo jeans.
Wait, what's red Guidi boots?
These, the back zips.
What's that?
Guidi's the brand, and
I
then
don't even know
they're
what that
like
is.
a oxblood is the color.
Guidi's like a.
What's Guidi?
They're like a goth artisanal clothing boot company. They're like
Who's the customer?
uh
What's the customer?
25-year-old losers from New York.
it's
We're
a
off
lot
to a
of
great start. I like this already.
it's
okay.
a lot of people in like drapey
Okay,
all
so it's
black
okay. Well, I
suits,
got you.
kind
Got
of
you. So
like
it's Rick Owens shit. Rick
Yeah.
Owens adjacent.
Yeah.
All right, got you.
Rick Owens, Yoji. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of
Yep.
the Yoji
Yes.
crowd, the
Got
slightly
you.
more serious version of the Rick Owens
Yep.
person.
Yeah. Yep. Less promoter, more archival page.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There you go.
Moving on. Pants.
Jirbo. And then I have a Daft Punk shirt from their Alive tour from 2006. And then a cardigan that I made with Rib for Your Pleasure back in 2021 that I modeled after that Vet runway sample that I didn't want to pay $8,000 for.
Fair enough.
Some
Wait,
loser
what's
on Grill.
Vet?
Vetmont?
Oh, you guys just call it Vet?
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
just feel
what-
like a dick if I say Vetmont.
Vemol. I
Really?
guess. Well, yeah.
I feel like Vet makes you sound even crazy.
Yeah,
kinda does.
I guess it does.
Vet. But if you say Vet, people understand what
yeah,
you're referring
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm
I hope
so far removed from that. Okay.
That's
and
wonderful.
so like when if somebody brings up Vet or Vetmont in your universe, that person is not automatically a clown. Like
No.
there's people who are like, oh yeah, I love early Vetmont. I thought he was so good and it really said something, and it like you guys aren't just like pfft.
Yeah,
That
no,
sounds like
okay.
somebody's genuinely enjoying
I hate to-
something.
I-
Okay, got
No,
it.
I'm not
I'm
going to
gonna
yam on
speak up
anybody.
now.
No,
I
it's important. It's
Yeah.
interesting. for me.
genuinely truly love early Vetmont.
Okay,
and
cool.
I think they
No,
were
I
really
mean, I
saying
thought it was, I thought it was kind of like amusing, but I didn't know that. It's hard for me to, from my sort of slightly removed vantage point. We can get back to that. It's hard for me to know if people take this stuff seriously or if they just clown it.
So
But we could talk about that later.
yeah,
We
yeah.
need to know your fit. Your fit's crazy. Wait, you finished? You're
Yeah,
done?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
All right,
keep
well,
it pretty
you look
simple.
amazing.
Thank you.
You
Well-
got the little key thing, right?
Oh yeah, I
That's
do.
like a
This
Bushwick.
is from Jordan Arthur Smith. I didn't used to wear a key ring. and
What's
then
Jordan Arthur?
He's
Smith?
a
friend
friend
of
of the podcast. He
All
sent me
right.
it for
Shout to-
Christmas.
shout to Jordan Arthur.
And it's cool. It looks like
Yeah.
a little, I don't know.
It's like a little shape. They make
yeah.
them out of ceramic and then they cast them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm kind of wearing some of that clownable, ironic Demna
Yeah.
goofy shit today. I am wearing, starting from the top, I'm wearing a Balenciaga shirt that says something about being recycled or like being sustainable. A pair of fluid trousers. They have a pair of basketball shorts sewn at the top, and then the rest
Is
I don't
Fluid
know.
a brand or is Fluid?
Balenciaga is the brand. Fluid is this like
Is he?
lightweight viscose
Okay. Yeah.
material.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh,
and
so you're
then
like head to toe Balenci.
I am today. It's
And you had the leather too. I noticed.
I had a Balenciaga oversized rider
Yeah,
jacket
yeah,
on.
yeah,
I'm having
sure.
a Balenciaga day. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
I'm also wearing for.
But show them the heels. It's crazy.
I have my fuzzy slippers with a 3-inch heel on the bottom of them.
Beautiful
They
stuff.
have touched outside for the first time today.
They've touched the grass.
they've
touched
they've
the
touched
concrete,
grass.
the Bushwick concrete.
They've been sitting on my shelf for like a year and a half. They're uncomfortable as hell, I have found out, and
That's good.
they might not get anything more than neighborhood access. I
Okay.
don't know if they're going farther than this. Also, I don't know about wearing a fuzzy shoe through a New York street.
You walk really slowly in those.
I do,
I would
yes.
ask you as your friend who walks with you to stop wearing those. It's sort of agony.
My fault. Yeah, and Dave, you want to
Glasses are from where?
The glasses are Moscot.
Very nice.
This is my like second.
What
or
about the
third
jewelry?
pair. Oh, some Chrome Hearts, a little bit of Good Art Hollywood, and then I feel bad because these two were sent to me by people on Instagram.
That's so nice.
Yeah, this one's really interesting. It's like a skull, but when you lift it up, the eyes open.
Oh wow.
Um,
So, all right. So for instance, like Chrome Hearts jewelry. I shouldn't say this because I have a few friends who wear it,
No.
but I can never tell if people wear that like, oh yeah, no, this is really dope, or if they wear it like sort of like, I got this like. I mean, rappers I'm sure wear it like, yo, this is dope. This
Yeah.
is 25 grand for like a ring with a cross on it. But you clearly don't think that way.
Well, so it's kind of part of it's a hype thing. Like hype and the like celebrity culture around Chrome Hearts has led it to become like a huge thing that people think like is worth more than the weight of silver. Like people,
But they had many moments. I mean, like, you know, in
Yeah.
the 90s, Japanese people were up on that before everybody else. And like, you know, hair metal people were up
Yeah.
on that. But like the modern day So the streetwearification of Chrome Hearts is sort of a different strand, but there's still like grown-ups in the world who are like, I gotta fire. Okay.
There's
And
a lot
I'm
of,
not I'm not
There's a
judging
lot
anything.
of
I'm-
avid Japanese collectors.
Well,
Oh,
this
yeah,
I
those
know.
guys
Super
are cool
cool.
as
Right,
hell.
but you're not.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
that you are not.
I am 30. About like I've been like a devout Rick head for like 10 years. I am more often this. I don't think the
so
jewelry
this
actually
is part of your
matches.
universe, sure.
Yeah, and like in the 2000s, in the like 2012, the 2010s, Rick and Chrome Hearts had a lot of like overlap.
Absolutely.
Where it became that like.
And what was that other brand like Boris
Bajan
right?
Severi,
That's
yeah.
the same idea.
Yeah, there's a certain
Yep.
gaudiness to it that I didn't think fit with Rick, but it kind of meshed
No, it does.
together.
It's LA.
Yeah,
It's just LA, right? Mhm.
And I bought the 2 Chrome Hearts things that I own. I bought like 7 years ago, when it was like it sort of went through. It wasn't cheap, but it was like not. You could find it for less than retail without it being fake.
But like, okay, but all right. Well, I have many questions for you guys, but not. It's amazing
That's
because
wonderful.
I'm not so much in that ecosystem, but I'm familiar, and like I follow a lot of accounts and stuff. But like you walk around with that, even though like you appreciate Rick as a real fan, and I'm sure like I've got the equivalent for other stuff, but obviously you're clowning a little bit too.
Oh yeah, no,
So you look like a doofus a little bit, and you love it, and you lean into it, right?
Very much enjoy looking like a doofus.
Yeah,
I
as you
think
should.
The goal
As
is
we all
to
should.
look, yeah.
Yes, as we all should. So you're sort of self-aware,
Yeah.
and you're also, you look like.
Roast his ass.
Yeah.
Get him.
Go crazy.
No,
Yeah, go
no,
crazy.
I mean, you guys are both like fly-ass dudes. You're
thank you.
handsome as hell, but you are wearing the official uniform of like a guy with like Aesop soap at his house, a bootleg
yeah.
Togo, and maybe somewhere in between.
The difference is
a
that
barista and Parsons.
Yes.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
But you're in on that joke.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
which is great,
Yep.
which is amazing. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, if you were like, nah, I never seen anybody with like a micro mullet and a mustache.
No,
I don't know what
nobody's
you're
ever
talking
done
about.
this before.
Right,
I
exactly.
started-
He is
Okay.
the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
The difference between the guy you're describing and Saul is that Saul stole the Aesop soap from a restaurant last night, and that guy bought it.
I don't even know if that's true. That guy
No, it
bought
is
it
true.
on his parents' credit card.
Well, yeah,
But
that
okay,
too.
I get it. Okay, all right, cool. Thank you for this. Is so cool. I'm
Wow.
learning things.
Yeah, we're teaching Unk about. I'm also Unk. This is Unk teaching Unk, but we're
Yeah, it is. It's Unk teaching Unk.
This is Unk teach Unk, and
But I'm really.
and Big Bro watch. Big Bro's here
But
hanging out.
I like hearing that perspective because at the end of the day, like a lot of the stuff you're wearing, it's like sometimes in very serious collector culture or like, lowball grailed guy culture or even like Playboy Cardi fan culture, the humor gets lost
Yeah.
and the self-awareness gets lost. And so, you walked in stilettos and I think, and you kind of, you look like a bass player in a death metal band, but you walk in with stilettos, which I love that.
I think first and foremost, in fashion especially, you have to laugh at yourself.
Yes, thank you.
And I
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's all.
That's
Podcast
it.
over.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. We
Yeah.
did it. We solved it. 10 minutes.
I
All
think
right. I did that to
Michael-
get
we gotta
around.
check something.
Yeah, exactly. I
No,
did
you're
this-
not actually freed of your fit check.
I was gonna say Michael does dress like, I think Michael may have described this to me, but the worst guy at the worst fashion party you've been to, who like really wants you to think he sells weed, dresses like Michael.
Have I said that?
Somebody
No,
described it
that's-
to me
no,
like
that's better
that.
than this. You're
And
like
Michael
no,
does
I-
it like earnestly and
No, but
very
it's cool.
wholeheartedly,
This
and
is
he
great.
makes it really cool.
No, this is great. I
Yeah.
think you look. There's a late 80s hair metal band called Extreme. They have
Extreme?
yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
your hair.
I have hair
also
metal
Michael
hair.
Michael Bolton, full
Yeah.
on Michael Bolton. But it's cool. It's a great contrast. I like it because you're kind of trolling a little bit, which I
Little bit,
love.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's so important.
I think it's funny because I would say I'm still genuinely enjoying and being earnest, but I'm also trolling.
But that's what my band was always about. Like people with Chromeo, not to make it about that, but like they never understood if
Make
we
the
were,
episode that you're on about you. That's the whole point.
I've been asking you guys the questions, but they never quite, like for a long time when we first came out, they never understood if we were serious or joking. And the reality is like we're super serious and we're nerds, but we also have a self-aware sense of humor.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to be. It keeps people guessing it also is a constant challenge to kind of navigate that thin line.
Yeah.
With my music, it's like, and then I'll stop with my music because I'm really trying to get out of the fit check. But with my music, it's like if I make one false move, it's Maroon 5. One false move, it's Weird Al. One false move, it's like 80s pastiche band.
Sure.
Right? And so like you have to just navigate that thin line.
Yeah.
I think
And-
something that Michael and I have talked about is you have to be really good at what you do and like very capable, especially in the realm of music, in order to shitpost like very effectively.
I don't know how to do that.
So no, like
I think that is what you're describing.
Yeah.
Is like
And
you're
also
shooting that
earnestness,
gap.
like because
Yeah, of course.
with my band too, like we have this thing where we want to teach people how to use synths and how to
yeah.
produce and all that. But also, you know, my partner comes in looking like, you know, dressing like Gaddafi, and you know what I mean. So there's like a lot of levels to it, but
Yeah.
I think that keeps the right people engaged.
Of course.
And
Yeah,
also, that being said, if someone is a little more basic and like a fan of, let's say, Chrome Hearts on face value, and is like, yo, oh my God, you got that thing on. This is sick. Can I try it? Then you can be cool and be like, yeah, man, for sure. You know what I mean? Like
no, it's a lot
it
of that.
doesn't it doesn't put you above.
no,
Right?
no,
Because like if
yeah.
someone's genuinely like obsessed with something, that you can also welcome that.
Yeah, of
Anyways,
course.
all right, I'm done.
Fit check.
Fit check
Fit
time.
check.
Celine everything.
Celine everything.
Head to toe.
Oh,
Head to toe.
my apologies for calling you an SLP soldier when
Yeah.
you are in fact a Celine
Well,
soldier.
Yeah.
Recent Celine, is it all Eddie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
so
they
just
never-
an Eddie soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you
the
know,
Eddie Admiral.
heeled boots and
Yeah, yeah.
pleated pants. But see, on me, you can't really tell what it is. There's no brands.
I think I could have told you. I mean, Michael
I knew
and
it
I
was Eddie.
do this every week.
Right. So then, but like whatever, like, you
No,
know,
it's-
I try
it's-
to not wear it like too brand and kind of make it look old. It's stuff. I buy stuff like, this is from like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I buy stuff and like wear it till it looks a little bit.
As you should.
Until it looks
busted.
good.
The goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then Moscot glasses.
Hell yeah.
whatever, everything
Moscot
else.
glasses.
But I always get embarrassed because I said that on other podcasts. Like, I really wish that I was like a Vincent Gallo type who could find like the vintage versions of all this and like really have like the perfect, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
instead, like, I go like a schmuck and I buy like the newer iteration of a vintage thing. And every time I tried buying vintage stuff, it either the smell puts me off or it's not
that.
fitting me right because I'm like tall and very
You're
skinny.
super tall.
Yeah.
And all that
Yeah.
stuff is very short.
I can't find.
Why is it that vintage men are short?
Well, first of all,
Why
they're all
are
really
vintage men
tiny.
shorter?
A lot of the really cool old military surplus was made in very, as I understand it, like standard sizing.
Right.
And especially in World War II, I think the average size of like a U.S. Army soldier was like 5'8".
5 something. Yeah, so I'm 6'4".
So
What am
exactly,
I doing?
there's no chance.
Yeah.
Or even Levi's. Like
Yeah.
I had a phase one time where I'm like, all right, I'm not wearing like, you know, design or whatever anymore. I'm
Everything
gonna get
Redline.
Levi's. I'm gonna get them tailored.
Yep.
And it never worked. Like the wash was good, the tailoring. So I don't know. I'm kind of like at a loss. And there was a time where like in the Barney's days,
Rest in peace.
Rest in
peace,
R.I.P.
yeah.
I could get different brands a little bit and like mix them up a little bit, but a lot of those fashion brands now they've become so whack that like I don't even find anything there that I like. You couldn't pay me, you know what I mean? Like so.
I think
is
that
what it is.
I think that if you wanted to,
But I look like a clown. I love when people roast
look
me.
great.
No,
You
I
look
hate
wonderful.
no, but like we have to make fun. Like I look like a clown. I'm walking around with heels. I got pleated pants. Like I'm in on the joke a little bit that I look like a clown. And I love when people roast me. Like for instance, like one time I was wearing like a little zip leather and like pants like this with pleated and like with boots. And then there's this homeless guy and he looked at me and he was like, all right, Bruce Lee. And I thought that was so dope. And like that's actually one of the
Bruce
biggest.
Lee is not where I would have gone.
No.
But, you know, I'll
No,
respect it.
but don't you see it now with like the tight zip leather and like the sort of pleated pants?
yeah, I get it.
So, and when he said, that's actually one of the greatest compliments I've ever received because it was playful, but it was like dead on the reference. You know what I mean?
I get a lot of all right Led Zeppelin.
No, you're Michael Bolton, and this, you have to look up this band Extreme. They have
Okay,
that song
I
More
will.
Than Words. More Than Words. It's like a great power ballad, but you're straight out of that.
Hell yeah.
And I and that's so good.
I think that I was going to say, I think shopping for your look only vintage, getting the vintage versions of what you
wish
wear
I
is a
could.
full-time career.
That's
in
what I
itself.
mean. That's what I mean.
Like-
That's what I'm saying. I tried like on some dilettante shit, and I was like everything was an almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's also this other thing of like, I think like at my age, it feels a little bit regressive adult. Like I have vintage t-shirts for the summer, you know,
Yeah.
funny band t-shirts or whatever. But like head to toe, when you're well into your 40s, it's either like I work, you know, I'm a vintage shopper for Ralph Lauren and like this is what I do. Or it's a little bit like there's something that felt a little bit regressive adult.
I mean, I think as long as you buy whatever you like and you can buy it new, I don't think that that's a problem. But wear it until it's beat up, like
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah,
Make
the
it
only
yours.
thing is
Make it
like,
vintage yourself.
Yes, the only
Yeah.
thing that sometimes bothers me in talking about that stuff. Obviously, this is a safe space, but like, like for a lot of let's say fans of my music or whatever, some of them are like heads and like they'll come to the meet and greet and be like, "Oh my god, I love this fall winter 19 whatever," and that makes me happy to nerd out with them. But you just don't want to have to give away the impression that like you're buying all this expensive shit and like because as a band, I don't know, it's a fine line as a band when you have people who look up to you or like sort of are inspired by you and feel like they won't be able to access a certain level of like, you know, swagginess without paying
It
all
feels
this money.
exclusionary.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I don't want to ever feel like that. So I try to go the route of like, look, you can probably find all this vintage, or
Yeah.
I'm a schmuck and I don't have time and whatever.
I think that is the luxury you have afforded by having a successful career. I think that there are people who are still very into that without the same means of access, and Saul and I among them, and our goal is to just like you can
But
find
you guys
stuff
find
if you're
all
very
the same
patient.
thing.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
ring is worth more than everything I'm wearing right now. You know that. I
these
saw
are-
how much Chrome Hearts cost. It's crazy.
These are only 900, which is a lot. Don't get me fucking wrong.
Is it like one Chrome Hearts ring like 20 grand?
No, that's the thing. Nobody knows the price of them because they don't
Yeah.
have a website. So
Right.
whatever. But
You
like,
know that whatever they do really right.
they're really
yeah.
good
And
at it. Yeah.
I think the greatest things about Chrome Hearts is that for such a long time, for someone like me, it was completely lost in translation. Me, I thought it was like expensive Ed Hardy.
It kind of is.
It kind of is.
yeah.
It kind of is. But I thought it was like I thought it was corny.
Yeah.
You know, but not. I'm trying to say
It
like
is, it is a little bit corny. I
it
think,
is, but when you know the history and how like old school they are,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course. Like, no, I'm not gonna.
They're
like,
sort of the reference the corny people are referencing,
Yeah.
but by
Yeah.
association.
But then,
they
like,
are.
yeah, if you're like, I think like I'm saying, like I used to go to Bergdorf, you know, 15 years ago and see they had a booth, and I was like, what is this? This is like the Guy Fieri thumb ring.
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
But then knowing this history behind them and like the hair metal, I'm a huge hair metal fan. I love, you know, Warrant, Motley Crue, Extreme, your band, Poison.
yeah.
You know, early I love all Guns N' Roses. I love that kind of Sunset Strip, you know, 80s. I love their artwork. I love their song titles. I love everything about them. And to know that this is like was their uniform in a completely sort of historic, authentic way,
Yeah.
I thought this made me see what they do in it. You know what I mean? So, and then my girl kind of like knows that family, and she schooled me, and then I was
Yeah.
like, this is so funny and good, you know. And also, it's a sui generis American fashion brand. There's
Yeah.
not a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
those,
yeah.
right? I can only think of like what 5, like, you know,
really old heritage.
not even old, but like dope American sort of, you know. There's just not that many.
Yeah. I think the thing is that like hair metal was really cool, and they wore all that Chrome Heart stuff, and then it sort of like Guy Fieri was dressing that way because of metal,
Yeah.
and because he was like into that shit, and then it got corny, and then now we're sort of back to referencing. Well, now Guy Fieri has become cool again. and
Yes,
now
I
we're-
think he was always cool.
Yeah.
The only person that I ever interacted with who wasn't Guy Fieri pilled and actually who gave me the most objective assessment of Guy Fieri was my mom. So my mom understands fashion, but she didn't, as a Canadian woman in her 70s.
Yep.
She had no Guy Fieri context.
Sure.
And so when she has insomnia, she goes downstairs and watches TV. She particularly likes Fallon because she thinks he's cute. And so she once told me, I go downstairs when I have insomnia and I watch Fallon because, you weren't on Fallon. So I kind of discovered him. I find him so cute. And then if I still can't sleep after Fallon, there's this other guy who comes on. And she said this with a completely straight face. And she was like, he dresses a little crazy. He looks a little crazy.
Yep.
But he really knows what he's talking about. And my mom can cook.
Oh my God.
So she was like, you're going to watch him. You're going to think he looks crazy. You're going to think, I'm not going to listen to this guy because, he has spiky hair and he's a little bit punk. And you're just going to say this guy is an idiot. Mm-hmm. But I promise you, he really knows what he's talking about in the kitchen. And I was like, that's such a pure assessment, right? It's the best.
Yeah.
And so that makes Guy, the GOAT.
There was a
He's
really
wonderful.
interesting, I think it was a PhD dissertation about the history of food criticism and about how before Guy Fieri, it was very stuffy, very
of course.
very uptight, almost very French, right?
Sure.
So like Julia Child.
offense.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Right.
None taken.
You had these like very stalwart figures
Yeah.
and it was very impenetrable to like the average person.
For sure.
And Guy Fieri came along and sort of had this attitude. He's very
But like,
respectful.
what about the Jamie Olivers? Like all those chef personalities who are like badass. No?
He's still like a little bit.
I would not call Jamie Oliver badass.
He's
No?
not like an everyman.
No.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, he's not an everyman.
Right?
But
Yeah.
wasn't Anthony Bourdain kind of an everyman?
Sort of.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, I think, a chef first, at least publicly. He was more of like a writer, critic.
Who?
Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain.
I thought, no.
No, he started
Kitchen
as a chef, but
Confidential, he's in the
he
kitchen.
wouldn't like cook on TV.
I see.
Yeah, right.
I see,
So
I see.
what Guy Fieri did is he came in and was so almost hyper accessible and like
Yes.
funny and
Yes.
and I wouldn't say he treated anything as a joke because if you watch his show, he's,
he's
very
very
respectful.
serious.
He's
Yeah.
very well spoken.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
takes
yeah,
the
yeah.
people really seriously.
Yeah, which
but
is beautiful.
Yeah.
what he did was take this food that like people didn't take seriously, like chili or burgers
Yes.
or
Barbecue.
nachos,
100%.
right? And
Yeah.
like really take a sensibility of like I
I-
appreciate this. This is important
Yes.
for food in general,
Yes.
and speak to it in a way that brought a lot of people into cooking that didn't really have an interest.
Ah.
And
You should write. This is the best forward to the Guy Fieri sort of anthology.
somebody wrote a dissertation about this.
Wow.
Me
No, this
regurgitating
is,
it.
and you're
But it's
absolutely
crazy.
right. And
No,
actually,
yeah.
so what's the parallel we can make with fashion? I don't know if there is one. I don't know if that works.
I mean, in the history of fashion, like people treating it sort of like not like as a joke, but really making stuff that was accessible to everybody. I feel like you could look at like Helmut Lang.
That wasn't accessible
in the
to
90s.
No,
Well, no,
you're
I mean,
crazy, dude.
he was
You-
making like jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah,
But he was
do you-
making
how-
inaccessible jeans.
No,
and
no,
t-shirts.
I
Who could
understand
afford
that.
that? Nobody
no,
could
no,
afford that.
Maybe not at the price point, but I think in terms of taking something that wasn't considered high fashion and putting it on a runway and quoting
It now became cool to wear jeans and a t-shirt.
Exactly.
In
And,
a high
you
fashion
know,
way.
But,
if you
but Calvin
look-
Klein was doing that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I think treating it with a sensibility and like with a respect that wasn't just like, oh,
Right.
you know,
I'm not sure if I agree.
You know, we weren't there. I first
True.
moved to New
Fair
York
enough.
I moved to New York in 2002.
okay.
And I remember that there was I don't know if it was the original Helmut Lang store, but there was a Helmut Lang store in Soho. I'm pretty sure it still had like some Jenny Holzer shit in there. I don't know if there was the Louise Bourgeois sculpture in front. That was once in the
they
window.
had really
Yeah.
spider or like a.
It was more, I think it was like her kind of like the spider like egg or whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
But look it up. There was a Louise Bourgeois sculpture in the window, and he had Jenny Holzer stuff all over the store. That's the Helmut Lang Soho store.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember going in there and feeling super sort of intimidated. And there's
Yep.
a gravitas to that store and to the sort of pretense behind it. So I don't know about it being like, you know, democratic. I think like you got this German dude. He's got like, you know, Louise Bourgeois, you know, fine art in his store. It's this very stark, minimalistic thing. You know, I bet you like the music was kind of like techno-y. So I don't know. But yeah, he tried to make like a fashion equivalent of these kind of lowbrow, everyday workwear staples. But yeah, he's dope. Whatever.
I feel like this might be kind of strange, but or disagreeable. But one of the things that I always find interesting is like probably like Virgil Abloh and a little bit Demna and a little bit the high fashionification of streetwear that happened in like the 2010s. I think then made it like Yeezy. I hate to
The
say it.
brand Easy?
Yeah, not that we have any.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
the
Yeah,
Easy
keep
of
it
10
pushing
years
from
ago that we
Kanye.
no longer no longer exists. The one
Yeah.
who died.
I don't know. I don't see. To me, I was already checked out. Like I already was like, this is cooked by then. I think everything went to shit when Martin quit. When Martin Margiela dipped. I think after that it was all downhill.
That's fair play. I feel like that's a good
Because
take.
because he's the greatest fashion designer ever, and sort of he's like him, the Queen or whatever. I put Eddie up there too, but like.
Really?
You love Eddie?
But Martin Margiela is more brilliant because he's got a sense of humor, and
Yeah.
his whole thing was like, it was postmodern. And when he dipped, the discipline lost its last self-reflexive, self-aware, interior critic.
I think we still have like Rei Kawakubo. Like she hasn't lost.
As a Rick Owens fan, I have to take a very sharp gasp.
No. Ray
even let me.
Kawakubo. No, Ray Kawakubo. It's too. I mean, yeah, there's a message, but it's very esoteric. It's very highbrow. There's no humor. There's very little humor. When Margiela did the sweater with like the breasts, did you guys know about that? He made like one of his first things was like a sweater that had been deformed by big boobs. And then
Oh, no, I
he
don't
sold
remember
the
this.
sweater, and you could buy. And when you bought it, it had kind of this like protruding shape. It was like
Sick.
kind of a
yeah.
wool or a cotton like threaded sweater. So there was a lot of that. There was also like a famous Margiela, like I believe like a fashion show where all the clothes was mounted on ice sculptures,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? So lots of humor, lots of the message of like, this is not serious, this is fuckery, and we're going to do everything we can to turn it on its head and to also fully commit to the bit.
I think it goes back to what you're saying about music, though, where you need to be able to do it really well in order to have a sense of humor.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't do it really well and you have a sense of humor,
it seems like you're being reductive or disrespectful, right? If you're trying to make it a joke. but you
or
don't
you're
do it well.
starting. I don't know. It doesn't really, but yeah. So I think when he dipped for me, it was over. And he dipped for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, all right, this is, and look what happened.
What do
right?
you think of current Saint Laurent then? So I loved their past collection. It was the women in suits,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they
it's
just
cool.
rolled out the
Yeah.
men basically.
I
or
just
the,
was
the
at
male
an
version of
event
it.
in Paris like last week, and
Yep.
they dressed me for it. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's I love the sort of '90s Hugo Boss reference and the '90s Armani references, and yeah, like the shoes. Like he basically made Aldos,
Yeah.
He made Aldos. That's how we used to call them, square shoes that like
Yep.
guys
Yeah.
like managers wear.
Oh god.
Yeah, he
now
made
it's-
Aldos.
Now it's
And so
But
like
he made
if-
them
pods.
cool.
Very cool.
Fucking
I mean,
hate those
Aldos
shoes.
have been cool. Aldos were always cool, but like not a lot of people were wearing. He made it the Aldos with the Hugo Boss 1990s. I think it's great. I mean, it's a great reference, and it's a great thing to unearth. I like when you unearth something where we were like, I don't think it's ever going to go to that, right? Like I you know what I mean? Like when something you think is like the final frontier and like it's never going to go to that, and somebody re-unearths it and makes it well executed and kind of desirable.
Yeah.
Kudos.
There's no way pants are ever going to get bigger.
Yeah,
pants
or
keep
like
getting bigger.
or like like for instance, I think for a lot of people, it's like we're never going to go back to like 2002 Miss 60. Of course, here we
course
are.
we do, yeah.
Or I was talking about that yesterday. Like how, like in the Sex and the City era, like cougars or whatever would wear like slightly flared pants that would go like above their shoe, like completely above the heel.
Oh, like cropped.
No, they're not cropped. They're like flared jeans, and they go like completely above.
Oh, like they cover the whole thing?
They cover the whole thing.
Oh, okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
And, like,
that's back.
If that's back, I'm in. Like that's fire. So I love I mean, any kind of reappropriation of bad taste, I think is terrific.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I love reappropriation of bad taste,
Clearly.
maybe more than anything. Hey,
No, it's great. I love, bro. This is
No,
props.
no, I
It's
know.
amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, like I wish, I mean, I'm sort of too locked into my character to do that, but I love it. I mean, my partner in my band P, he was super into that for a long time. He still is. You know, in like 2014, he started wearing like the Euro Pumas with all the straps that now are back.
The double buckles on top?
Yeah, like the ones with the thin sole and like, you know what I mean? Like circa 2000. But he was doing that in 2014. And then at one point we were like in Edmonton and he went to like a local skate shop and bought all the really sus DC shoes.
Hell yeah.
This is all back now, but he was doing this in like 2013.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I was like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, you're pushing the limits. I love this.
Did you used to be a sneaker guy?
No, but like growing up, I grew up with hip hop music and culture.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, sure, I had like dunks and a few things, but nothing too obsessive. But no, I could never really afford that many things. But I had dunks and maybe like a few pairs of like something a little more sophisticated.
Do you think it's greedy being 6'4" and wearing heeled boots every day?
What do you mean by greedy? Like height?
You're stealing
Yeah.
all the hype.
Yeah, man, I don't know about greedy. What, like for oxygen? I don't know
That's
what
our
that
gotcha
means.
question. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I just like that style. Yeah, I just always liked that style. I think for me it was like, you know, growing up in like sort of a culturally French home, I would see like images of like either Serge or like Alain Delon or a lot of like these sort of French actors from 70s and 80s, and also even like studying French literature. Foucault, thank you. You can't wear a turtleneck and a blazer without thinking about Foucault,
Yep.
right? And to me, like, or even Derrida. Derrida is like a super dandy.
Yep.
And those guys were always my heroes. I was working on a PhD in French literary theory. So these guys, to me, they were my mood board in my head.
Yep.
So I always wanted to cosplay that, you know, and so it sort of naturally
Do
evolved.
you do the
into
English
that.
major fit? Do you do black turtleneck and blazer?
Yeah, I still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good outfit.
Yeah, it's
I
a
do
great
that.
outfit.
I do
Yeah,
that all
Philip
the time.
Philip Roth
Yep.
core.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could say,
Smoke
right?
outside of the building in like really skinny jeans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I love the English major.
Yeah,
Default.
but that's also French.
Yeah, the French major.
Yes.
I was teaching French at Barnard, and I had like my boots and stuff, and like I remember like at one point I overheard like another faculty member kind of roast me, like, "Oh, there goes David Macklovitch with his Cuban heels, you know, like stomping around,
Clip clopping around.
clip clopping around the hallway." I thought that was always funny, but yeah. So I don't know if that answers anything, but
What? I don't even know what the question was.
I don't know either.
But it was probably
But I'm
very
enjoying
thoroughly
this.
answered.
yes,
Well,
I'm enjoying
in
this
a
conversation.
swaggy PhD dissertation topic.
What'd you say?
I'm trying to get a PhD, or I'm applying.
Oh, really? Where?
At Columbia or NYU, hopefully.
Oh, my alma mater. In what?
I'm applying finance.
A PhD in finance?
Yep.
What does that
There's
even- what's-
no swag in the financial field. It's
Wait,
like
but
nerds and-
what's a PhD in finance?
Saul's the only smart finance bro.
Yeah.
Full offense to any finance bros listening.
you essentially build models to try and understand why people make decisions, but in a very micro scale. So,
No,
an
this is
example-
math. It's applied math.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's next level. Oh, so are you a math guy?
Not as much as I was at the start of college, but I will have to come back around and start studying math.
So,
again.
I have an anecdote about that.
Yeah, go crazy.
We're kind of veering away from fashion, and we can get
No,
back to it.
we'll
But
get
so my father, I know I'm talking about my parents weirdly. It's like strange, but my
It's
father
like therapy. They always come
kind
back
of,
up.
yeah.
Yep.
So my father works in machine translation, and so he was like, since the 70s, he was working on developing models that eventually have become, you know, Google Translate and AI. But they were trying different sort of Chomsky models to achieve that. And so at one point, there's someone who came in and really revolutionized the field, because instead of trying to teach computers how to talk, which is like a very 70s imaginary ideal, he was like, we don't have to do all that. We don't have to teach them anything. We're just going to use a mathematical model and like sort of probabilities to make computers translate and speak. Because mathematically, by like word combinations and word associations,
Yep.
you could get to language. That man is a guy called Robert Mercer, who then took that same mathematical model and went into finance and
Yep.
made a killing in
Yep.
finance.
Yeah.
And then became one of the biggest patrons of the far right in America, and
Stellar.
gave Breitbart and Steve Bannon their startup money.
So it often goes.
So fuck Robert Mercer, fuck his daughter who's also in there, fuck all these people. But this is when I learned that finance, sort of like advanced finance, was basically very advanced applied probabilities.
Yeah.
Right? It's math
I mean,
models.
all finance is transferring of risk and figuring out who can best assess the risk of any given action. It could be like buying groceries. And trying
Right.
to
And
figure
so
out,
the only thing I'll say to finish this finance roasting
Yeah.
bit is
No,
that
please.
actually, well, no, just to clear the air, is that when we think finance, bro, we sort of feel like we think like hedge fund gambler, douchebag, cocaine, summer in the Hamptons. But there's another side of the finance discipline, which is like just really advanced math whiz.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I hope this is what you are.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see
Cool.
how it
We're,
goes.
we're a very mathy podcast at the core of it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
a-
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, what else should we talk about? Sorry.
No. I have a music question of sorts.
Please.
As someone
I love
who-
talking about fashion too, though.
No.
It's fun. It's really fun with you guys. I don't know why I'm really enjoying it with you guys. I'm not
We
trying
do
to
our
give you-
best.
Yeah, it's
Um,
funny.
You're
So-
glazing, Unc.
No,
Bro,
not glazing.
Unc.
No glazing. No glazing.
He bouncing on it.
Oh wow.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No gooning.
No
No glazing. None of that. No crashing out and no locking in.
There we go.
Wait, we
Going-
can't lock
no,
in?
no, we're
No,
locking
we're
in.
locked in.
Okay,
We're locked
okay.
in.
cool, cool.
All right.
As someone who was like musically successful in the early 2000s
Yeah.
and who like came up through that,
Yep.
and then continued to be successful, and then you recently had like a resurgence of some of your older music through
Yes.
TikTok.
Yes.
Have you sort of watched the way the music industry is structured be changed by TikTok? Have you seen that? Or
I've seen the music industry be structured and unstructured 4 times before TikTok.
What
when
did
I
it-
first started,
wait.
people were when I first started putting music out, it was like about like physical sales, but how physical sales are going to be a disaster because people are starting to like download illegally.
Yep.
Then at the peak, during my first come up, my band's first come up, nobody even really cared about sales because everyone was downloading illegally.
Yep.
And or buying like single songs on iTunes. And so it was like the pinnacle of, just downloading, which was amazing because the music industry didn't have any data on
Oh.
what was big because you couldn't trust sales.
It was
right?
it was vibes, guys.
It was 100% vibes,
Wait, I
guys.
never
that.
thought about
Well,
that.
yeah,
That's
think
crazy.
about of course. Think about all the great, huge bands from the 2000s, right? A lot of those bands would not have had the buzz and the come up they had if people only relied on sales.
Yeah.
Right? Like sure, and even MGMT, like they weren't going platinum, but at some point there was like a general, like you said, vibe that was like, all right, Electric Feel is the best song
Yep.
of the last, 2 decades or whatever. But it wasn't like, oh my God, it streamed that much. It was just like this song is circulating. And then there was other stuff that was a lot more esoteric. Animal Collective being a great example. They became a festival headliner without tangible commercial success and data. It was strictly driven by vibes.
Yep.
And so it was sort of this magical era where, like you said, the vibes and also like journalists and bloggers and, tastemakers could kind of dictate who came out on top.
I was gonna say because Chromeo was sort of a blog darling, right?
Big
in
time.
the in
Big
the
time.
late 2000s, 2010s.
Big time.
Was a lot of it driven by blogs back
But
then?
everything
I guess?
was driven
Yeah.
by blogs. Yeah.
Were there ones, or was there a concerted effort that you made to sort of build inroads? Like, did marketing sort of?
No, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
You put out a song and blogs would pick it up because it was part of this sort of organic zeitgeist.
Yep.
And everybody listened to it, and you didn't worry about what sold or what didn't because nobody bought music. Everybody
Yep.
downloaded music, and then you could have a career like that. And then around 2016 is when streaming came about.
Yep.
And so that became like a whole thing. It's actually really interesting because when we were working on our 5th album, like the sort of quote unquote streaming revolution happened during that time. So when we started working on our album, people had like a very top down approach of you're going to make a song, the label's going to blow it up, we're going to see what we can do at radio and this and that. And then halfway through the album, I remember like we were working closely with a major label then because on our 4th album, we had a big hit record with Jealous.
Yep.
And that was like a top 40 song. So then the label kind of was pushing us to do more. And then the A&R came in and was like, we don't even need to worry about what the label says. You put the album out, you look at the song that people listen to the most on Spotify,
Yep.
they'll tell us, they'll raise their hand and tell us.
Yep.
So that is another industry sort of, shift. And then I've been there for the return of physical product and vinyl selling like
Yep.
crazy. And now we're in this sort of post everything age where you can't escape streaming platforms, but at the same time everybody shits on them, and it's like it's an evil thing. I mean, it's sort of that's where we're at with everything. I think fashion too, where there's a critique of it built into the consumption of it, and also this very dystopian sense that you can't escape it. You can't escape LVMH. You can't escape caring. You can't escape it. Independent designers get swallowed up or bought out. Or they go under, or they're trying to raise more money. It's just this very sort of dystopian, sorry to say it, capitalist sort of,
I think that's fine.
Right. And so, I think that the only saving grace we have right now, I mean, we're doing this interview in a particularly grim period, right? In American culture and politics. But, the comment sections have never been funnier.
Yeah.
I
People are
swear
really
to
fucking
God,
funny. Yeah.
I was looking at, and I've started reading comments. So RFK nomination, and I was like, all right, I'm going to kill myself here. So I go
You get
into
the chatter we cooked comments.
I looked at, and I look at the comment section, and they're so funny.
Yeah.
It's like people are like leveling up on their humor. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
And so I think that like cynical. Is the word derision an English word? I don't know.
Yeah. Derision's
Okay.
a word.
Like humor of derision and of cynicism and this kind of like embracing the dystopia and at least coming up with like one funny quip.
Yeah.
Like in a way that's sort of right now is all we got.
I think speaking about music and fashion, a lot of the greatest stuff that we have was born out of people just being like, yeah, fuck it. Like, let's be cynical and funny. Like Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
They're just fucking around for the most
you're
part.
a real music head. Okay.
I
cool.
love, like
Dope,
to a certain extent,
Fuck, sorry.
my favorite genre, Detroit House, was born because Detroit was like a crumbling city.
Yeah.
The 909 was popular there because it was just fuck it, we'll ship it to Detroit because it didn't sell.
True.
And that's
very interesting.
had an entire music genre as an impact.
It's punk.
So yeah,
It's very punk.
somewhat optimistically, there's so much shit happening now in the US. It's fucking terrible. But I think that there's a general sense of humor, a general sense of like just sort of have to like get through it.
Yeah, it's depressing though, because
Yes, of
I
course.
feel like we're feeling the weight, like you feel the weight.
Oh, of course.
And fashion stuff. To go back to the vet comment earlier,
Oh yeah.
right? Like when vet first came out, I was playing dumb earlier, but I'm hip to it and the sort of discourse around it, and I remember the excitement. The genuine excitement around it, even though I feel like 2016, 2017 was like it was like the end of the world years.
For
me,
fashion or just in general?
Music, fashion. It was like a tough period. It was like a weird transitional period, of like, I don't know. I felt it was like shit was getting dark. But still, that stuff came out and people were like, oh my God, it's sort of like post-Margiela. It's post-Margiela, half vintage, half new. Crazy ass proportions, highbrow, lowbrow, whatever, right?
And making fun of itself.
But nowadays, I don't even know if there's an equivalent to that, because even making fun of yourself is like, that's been co-opted.
Yeah.
Everything's co-opted so fast that like, if somebody comes out with a novel proposition, in 2 months, it's either cooked because Gunna wore it to the Super Bowl or something. I mean, no disrespect, but
No,
you know what I'm
Gunna's
saying?
put on some absolutely god awful fits.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? Just because I
scuba
see that because he
sock
gets roasted a lot. It could be anybody. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Or like some crazy basketball player with a Marnie sweater. He's just
James
everybody's
Harden.
like
James, my favorite. Yeah.
right. I don't even know, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
No shade to whoever. It doesn't matter. But like so it's cooked, or the company runs out of money and it's a wrap,
Yeah.
Yep.
or they get bought out by like a giant conglomerate and people get put off, or it just crosses over and it's like ugh,
I think the like being self-aware and making fun of yourself has maybe been driven into the ground by Mischief.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Okay.
the big red boots company.
yeah,
like
yeah,
they've
yeah.
just kind of like, it feels like they're doing it, but they're not really like they're doing it. I don't know. Something
But
about it feels wrong.
is it? I don't know anything about. I know they're clever as hell.
They're
They
smart
are.
guys.
And
Yeah.
there's another brand that's like, I think 4 letters, and they're Italian, and they're also super clever, and I forgot what they're called. CMD, I don't know, whatever they are, but they're whatever. We'll look them up, and they're clever as hell, and they do like these kind of future. You'll know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
their Instagram is super cool and stuff. But the mischief thing is my only question is, again, they seem really, really, cheeky. But is it functional clothes? Like, do people wear that?
No,
stuff?
that,
So
their
then-
clothing.
People
fucking
wear it
sucks.
for the
Right, so
bit.
it's
You make
stunts.
a
Right, but
you,
it's not
you make
serious.
a TikTok and then you throw it away.
Right, but it's not serious.
Yeah.
Whereas even Vetements, like those first jeans or whatever, they looked cool as hell.
Yeah, and they're still wearable.
And they're still wearable. And
Yeah.
those they had these platform boots with like little stars on them or something
Yeah,
like that. That was objectively like kind of fire.
Oh yeah, no, those are sick.
Right? So if you go too far in like the joke, it's not wearable.
You
So
have
to
to
me,
ride the
so
line.
it's not clothing. It's more just props to make
Yeah.
people laugh on the internet, which is dope too, but
Wisdom wore his gifted big red boots for one TikTok video, and then
Who's
had
Wisdom?
Wisdom's a
Fashion
TikTok
influencer.
fashion influencer.
Yep.
which one is that?
He's always doing. He's got like 9 million followers. Some shit. He's like moved past influencer now. He's like doing, who knows, creative direction or whatever. He's like getting actually involved.
I don't
in
even
stuff.
know who that is.
He's
That's
always.
crazy.
I'll show you him later. He's always doing. I think he got big off of doing like styling characters from this show, but in this
Oh,
fashion
wow.
style. And
Yep.
he's very insanely good at editing. Still does a lot of just iPhone stuff.
Cool.
They sent him a pair of big red boots because he's huge, and he did his one video in them, and then he had to cut them off
to take
because
him
they
out?
got stuck to his
That's funny.
feet.
Good Lord.
So, right.
Is there the equivalent of that in music? I know that right now, sort of labels have never gotten, or labels have never been as good, I think, as they ever have been at just making, like, they have so much data. They know exactly what will sell and exactly what sound they need to make or what 15-second snippet will go
yeah.
crazy on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Like, I see it in two ways, right? You see, like, Imogen Heap get popular again
Oh,
off
yeah,
of TikTok,
that's true.
which is crazy.
I heard about that. It's amazing.
And then it's like the worst song you've ever heard that has a 10-second clip that gets viral on TikTok because they paid people to push it. I'm curious to hear your opinion on that sort of brand of music versus people really going back and finding things like Imogen Heap to get back into.
That's one of the cool things about TikTok, though, I will say, is that, like, people like Crystal Castles got huge again.
Yep.
And they, to me,
Love Crystal Castles.
Yeah, same. And I came up with them. So, like, I
Yep.
want them to get their flowers. They deserve it. And, like, I always felt like our song Fancy Footwork was a good song. And the TikTok thing, I was like, this is cool. Like, it makes me happy to see.
Did you like watch that happen? Like, how did
Yeah.
you find out?
I don't
that-
have the app. A friend of mine texted me like, yo, your song's going viral. And I was like, no, it's not. And then it did. And it made me really happy to see. And that part of TikTok I love. And I guess the other stuff, I mean, it's just the marketing tools that are employed by major labels nowadays. But, I own 2 record labels. I own
Yep.
Fool's Gold and Juliet Records.
Yep.
And I think there's still room to put out music independently and to find other metrics to blow artists up. And also, like, you just put music out and hope for the best. And it's a little bit like throwing a bottle at sea.
Sure.
So it can feel a little bit hopeless in that level. But people aren't going to stop making music. And I feel like they need the kind of mentorship that an independent label can provide, or
Yep.
cosigns. When my brother is like, yo, I love your record, to some random kid on the internet, like that'll make his day and hopefully inspire him. And again, it's sort of all we can do. I don't really, I'm so removed from like major label marketing tactics for pop records.
Yep.
But then I like a lot of those pop songs. I mean, I love Espresso.
It's a good
It's
fucking
a
song.
great
It's a good
song.
Yeah.
And I loved what did I hear that was fire? Diet Pepsi?
Yeah, that's a good song.
Phenomenal
Yeah,
song.
it's a good
So
song.
like I like some of that. I don't know. Even with the stuff I said about fashion, like I have a I'm trying to find stuff to love. Right now in fashion, I'm having a hard time. But in music, I got a lot of stuff I love.
Oh yeah.
I think
A lot,
fashion's
a lot,
in a
a
little
lot.
bit of a lull, but I see things that get me really excited.
Like what? That's a great
suiting,
example.
The suiting in Saint Laurent.
Okay.
From
Yep.
Anthony Vaccarello, who I thought was ass straight up. I
Right.
thought he had no designing chops. I thought he was
No, he's
Eddie
good
Light.
for women. He's very good.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
And then he comes out with 2 incredible, one for men, one for women, incredible suiting collections that I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit,
You
this guy
liked
can
it.
make clothes.
Yeah.
I think that Tom Brown is always just a source
Love that man.
of positive good.
Him I like.
It's inaccessible. I never wear it.
Well, you're too tall.
Thanks.
But I like the fact he's got. I mean, I admire people, obviously, like my boy, they're committed to the bit. You do the same thing for 40
Yeah.
years, 30 years.
Sure.
Same thing. You don't
Yeah.
change. You redesign. I did it with my music. I try to do it with my music. It's the same iteration,
Yeah.
and you just kind of chisel at it for years and years and years and years and years. And people will call you repetitive. They'll call you uninspired. They'll call you but the best way to troll them is to make another collection that's still the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that to me is so, that absolute commitment to the bit is so brave.
Yeah.
And so Tom Brown has that. Like I you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's another great sui generis American brand.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I wasn't in love with the initial proposition, I don't know if I'm ever going to be in love with it personally or inspired by it, but I respect the hell out
It's
of
a
it.
respect the hustle.
So not
Yeah.
even hustle, just like the commitment
Yeah.
and like the stubbornness. But Rick, same deal,
Yeah.
right? It's
I mean,
like,
Eddie,
he's
same
so
deal.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's why he's the GOAT.
I don't know about goat. I don't know about.
I don't think there's anybody else. There's nobody else that's of that pedigree. They all died. There's nobody else. He's the last terrific.
You think he's the
couturier.
only guy making skinny jeans and aviator jackets?
But that's not what he does. I mean, it's not. It's the suit. It's the tailoring. The skinny jeans is whatever.
I think that
it's a
Eddie
tailoring.
is the progenitor of a lot of that slimness and all that. In the
Sure,
world.
but
There's nobody that for a men's silhouette, it's Giorgio Armani, and then him. That's it.
Yves Saint Laurent, the 70s and 80s.
Okay, but since
For
I was
men.
born, right?
Since you were born,
Giorgio Armani in the 80s with the business suit, and then somebody else comes and
Tom Ford in the 2000s at Gucci was also doing the slim black suit.
it's not serious. I don't know. It's not serious. It's not serious.
I'll go to war about this.
Go
Oh
to
God,
war.
this
It's
is
not
gonna. The
serious.
podcast is gonna end in
It's
bloodshed.
not serious. It's not serious.
Tom Ford isn't serious,
It's
you're
not
saying?
I mean, no. The
I'd say
Gucci
Tom
stuff-
Ford is maybe too serious.
Yeah.
No, what I mean, it's not serious. I mean, it's like it's it's cute. It's interesting. Sure.
I wouldn't say Tom Ford is slim. I would say Tom Ford is built for like muscular.
Yes, it's like
Broad-shouldered.
Ti kind of guys, or like Daniel Craig kind of dudes.
Daniel
Yeah,
Craig,
sure.
yeah.
Daniel Craig is a good example.
You have to. I mean, we talk.
I
Some amount
give
of shit
Eddie
on
his flowers.
Yeah, but
No, well, let's talk. I mean, no, no. There's nobody else. It's me. McQueen is not here. There's nobody else. There's nobody that redefined the male silhouette.
I think Tom redefined the male silhouette in a very distinct way, but you don't like him.
No, it's terrible. The lapels are too wide. the
It's-
shoulders
but-
are crazy.
Now you got
It's-
Michael mad.
And
Uh-oh.
it's
Now you really
it's
fucked
also
up.
it's not. No one was wearing that. Like no one. Carl didn't go and wear. Oh, I'm going to wear Tom Ford. This is so cool. A velour suit with
No,
extra
Tom
wide.
Brown.
Oh, Tom Brown.
Tom Brown redefined the silhouette. I just think he did it in a way that you don't like, potentially because you're 6'4".
No. It's great what he did. Love him. Nobody wore it. No one's wearing it. No one's
People wear it
ever.
now.
No.
He's dressed
Every
like
award
every
show.
single.
But that's not real. You don't see it on the streets.
I
Like
see it on the streets. I mean,
You
I
don't
wear
see,
it on
you
the
don't
streets.
see Eddie on the streets.
everywhere.
$3,000 skinny fit suit?
No, you see the Zara version.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
Well,
course.
that's what I'm saying.
But I think
But
that
that's all you need. You make it. Zara makes it accessible. H&M makes it accessible. And next thing you know, everyone on earth is wearing skinny jeans and a leather jacket. And that's your
I
contribution.
think Tom
right?
Brown deserves his credit for like shrinking the suit like Tom Brown is the reason we started seeing so many ankles, even if it's not his own suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. But that's like small. That's not a revolution of what men are supposed to dress like. If you look at the amount of people who
Eddie is responsible for my least favorite suit silhouette.
Yeah.
Not his, because Eddie's suits are good, but like
Brunch core?
He's responsible for the sex core
Well,
trickle
how is that
down
your,
of
no, I mean in now of course you could be cynical about it, but like the paradigm shift of going from Giorgio Armani suits in the late 90s, early 2000s to one guy being like, you know what? I'm going to make the armholes super high.
That. Ralph
Huh?
Simmons did it in Black Palms.
He did it a little bit, but the
that's
tailoring's
who-
not right.
Who Eddie said that he quoted.
Ralph Simmons and Helmut Lang
Yeah.
are the antecedents, but go pull out a Ralph Simmons suit from that era and a Helmut Lang blazer, they fit terrible.
I've owned them. We're also I'm 6'2", you're 6'4".
They're not gonna hug your arm right. The length is not right. It doesn't feel. It's like an almost. And if you put on a Dior,
Can I ask reasonably? Do you like Eddie so much because it fits you?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so there is a
Well, it
personal
doesn't fit.
bias.
No, of course there's a personal bias. I like him a lot because of the stubbornness and the arrogance, and the commitment to the bit, and also because, because of the paradigm shift, because of the mix between music and fashion, because of the weird sort of like homoerotic fascination with little boys. I love that part.
Say more on that.
Be my guest. I mean, read André Gide. I mean, there's a massive literary and film precedent for that stuff. I mean, it's a deeply sort of French louche thing. But there's a lot of things that speak to me about it. I love the references, But Raph Simmons stuff is really, really, really brilliant.
It's a shame he's washed now.
I don't know if
he's so ass.
Really?
That's my goat. My goat is washed.
We spent an entire episode talking about how horrible his last collection was. It's one of the worst things we've
It's
seen.
so
I don't
bad.
really right, but Eddie's shit is still fire to this day. Everything's perfect.
He really struggled with some of his early collections at Celine.
I think you're wrong.
20s, the Dancing Kid.
Yo, but he was ahead of the curve on that. When I saw it, I was like, this is a disaster.
It still looks like shit. Just look.
But that's
at the
how
runway,
kids dress. It's crazy.
That doesn't mean that kids dress well. They dress like shit. It's just you see it more. Also, kids
I like how
today
kids
wear
dress.
so much
Like
baggy
it.
stuff.
And so he was like, all right, let me do my version of it. But I don't know. I'm sorry to be unk.
No,
but
you can be unk. I appreciate that you're willing to die about this shit. It's amazing.
No, but I also really love up the street, Morgan Stop, looking how kids dress. I love looking how you dress. I love looking how you dress. I love roasting you a little bit, but
That's
also
fine.
learning about how you put shit together and like how, sort of like a music nerd you are mixed with like, a Jacob Elordi haircut look-alike. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Elordi.
Elordi, whatever. Right? Like I love those contrasts. I love those mix, and I think I love those mixes, and I learn from them. And so I feel like every time when you like whatever youth culture is and you look at it from the vantage point of someone who's a little bit older, the way to see it is they're tapped into something I don't get. And
Interesting.
I love thinking like that.
You're not doing like old man yells at clouds.
Hell no. It's more like, you know what? You're tapped into some shit that I should learn about and that I should learn to appreciate, even though it's not what I love. You're tapped into a frequency that I want to learn more about.
Can
I'm
I ask-
curious.
Go
I
ahead.
have a stupider question.
You do
What's
stupid
the
ones.
what's the leg opening on the widest pair of pants you own?
The Lego, like the bottom?
Yeah, like how wide does your widest pair of pants get?
No, I have flared. I have like
Okay,
bell
you
bottoms.
got
I
some
have a lot.
flares. That's good.
Yeah,
Good.
It's all over my Instagram. I got flares. No, I got, and I love those too.
Could we put you in a pair of like Jinkos?
It's a lot of fabric, but
You might-
And then
you
I
might
got
start
those new. I
screaming
got
if you
those
put
new.
these on.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I just would look like a regressive adult. But
That's
I got
fine.
that Saint Laurent suit you talked about. They gave it.
Yep.
They dressed me in that, and it was
Yeah.
really wide and it was great. Well tailored. Well tailored will work, right?
Yeah. No, I commend you for being into fashion but continuing to dress your age. I think. Like you're not being a regressive adult. You're staying
I
with
don't
like what.
Yeah, and also to what we were talking a little bit before the podcast is like when you're a band, you have to be in a character.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't make music if people can't dress as you for Halloween.
Sure.
Don't do it. And because it's part of the thing, right?
Was this something that at the outset of the band you like sat down and mood boarded? Like this is the vibe we're going for, or was it just I like wearing this
P
shit?
and I have been, we've been like this since high school. Everybody in our high school is like, you guys are just doing the same thing you did, in 10th grade. Like
Yeah.
it's always been, the sort of tall, slim one with the heavier set one who's more gangster and the slim one who's a little nerdy. And like, I went a little bit, started dressing more, but it was always kind of the bit. Like, obviously if you see old pictures of us from like the 2000s, like we're whack. and there's massive taste mistakes. But around
Wait, speak on that.
oh my god, I had like the MySpace square glasses and
Hell
like
yeah.
a really bad mustache, and like obviously I couldn't buy anything really nice, so I was getting like the wrong vintage thing. I had no money, and P had like the pencil beard. I look back super fondly to those days, and then in 2011 is when we locked in. Something happened cosmically, we locked in. And then the characters started being perfect. But prior to that, the pictures are a desire. Fedoras. I mean, but it's...
Fedoras.
Yeah.
That's really emblematic of the era that a
Yep.
fedora was not yet like
Oh, yeah.
beaten into the ground.
Big
Yeah.
fedora. And yeah, because there's this kid that started making like a Chromeo archive fits, and then I look at what they find. And I mean, it's a she, because I spoke to her
Hey,
on
take
DM.
this down. I hate this.
No. I was like, yo, how did you find this? And she somehow found a way to archive all our MySpace pictures.
Whoa.
I think there's somewhere. I think you can get everything that's no longer in the
Internet
internet.
Archive, I think, as
is
long
a
as you were a
thing.
public page.
You
yeah.
can
I should-
really go in on that. And then she went on she like basically went on all the MySpace shit, all the Tumblr shit. Anyway, Flickr. So anyhow, we were a disaster for a few years, and then it kind of locked it and gelled and the character. So we never mood boarded it, but we embraced it and we loved it, and we never ever took it seriously, and always roasted ourselves and roasted each other in interviews. And like I still do, like I'll always be like, what am I doing with my like heels or whatever? I mean, there's no difference between my heels and your heels. You know what I mean?
Mine are stupider.
Yeah,
You can walk, I think, slightly faster than
yeah,
Michael.
Yeah,
but
that
mine
too.
are stupid too. I like them and I like the way it looks, but it's not lost on me that it's funny, and it's
Yeah.
good that way. You know what I mean? That, in fact, this is what I really enjoy with talking with you guys, is that you're not hyper serious, archival Instagram page, grailed lowballing.
My least favorite person.
And I follow a lot of those pages, and I save some shit. I'm like,
This
where
pair of Saint Laurent pants cost $10,000.
Those
Right.
guys?
I don't know, not those guys. More like
Thank fuck.
an old Raf Simmons show, and they upload it.
Oh
So
yeah. No, the
I
like,
love those.
The like
yeah.
archive mood board pages. They deserve some credit for sort of
Yeah, I love them.
reinvigorating Tumblr vibes on.
Yeah, shout to
Instagram.
all the ones I follow. I don't know them offhand, but they're great. And yeah.
But not the videos of the Zoomers like putting on a 20-year-old pair of pants and like slapping it and being
I've
like,
never
these
seen
pants
that.
cost $10,000. We'll show you this.
You
It's the
guys are
worst shit that
yeah, it's
exists.
funny because
The worst people you've seen on the
Yeah,
internet.
like when I hang out with like people who are like more in the weeds in any sort of sphere of interest that I'm like sort of adjacent to.
Yeah.
They put me on to like the filth.
Gotcha.
Like for instance, like my boy Hassan, like the big left wing streamer.
Oh, okay, sure.
Or, you know.
Piker. Sure.
He's the one who taught me about Andrew Tate. And I went on his stream one time, and he was like, he literally like Andrew Tate pilled me. Like I didn't know who that was, and the chat was going crazy. Like
Pilled in the sense that you
no.
you-
No, but
Speak on that.
but he really poisoned me with that. And the
Yeah.
chat was saying like, don't show him, Dave. Don't show him, Dave, stay pure. And then he
And
showed
now
me.
you have to know about that forever.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna show you the worst archive page you've
No.
ever seen, and you're gonna have to know about it
Yeah,
forever. If I
yeah.
have to know about it, you got to know about
Yeah,
it.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. So wait, so to you, like Raf is your goat. Raf is your dad.
Begrudgingly, yes. I think there's
begrudgingly?
like the correct answer, which would be like McQueen, who just paved the way for almost every modern designer
Yeah.
who wants to
if
be
that's
like
true.
an artist simultaneously.
Yeah,
I'll give
artist,
you.
yes, but-
I can send you a book that like will make you believe in this.
Maybe I have the book.
Blood Under the Skin.
No, I had the. What's the other one? The
Gods and Kings?
Gods and
Yeah.
Kings. Yeah. Those are great. Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't know how much of that trickled into Zara.
That's fair.
And I think- and I
McQueen in
think-
particular into Zara.
Yeah, and or
I think
into
it
like
predates that, like his
okay,
impact.
but whatever.
sort of-
Into like to me, like the guys who really make an impact are either the Margiela's, the McQueens, the Ray Kawakubas, who turn fashion into an art form and use the pretext of the fashion show to make essentially like a moving art exhibit, right?
Sure.
Love that.
Yep.
And then you have the other ones like, Armani, Tom Ford in many ways,
Ralph Lauren,
who create archetypes that then you see on the streets of everywhere in the
Yeah.
world
Sure.
every day.
the
Sure.
people who change, like there's the people who make fashion,
Right?
and then there's the people who make like the style.
The people that make noise and then the
There's
people that
who
make not
clothes.
clothes.
So everybody you named, right? There's derivatives of that.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you see them everywhere in the street.
Yep.
And so, yeah, my guy did that. Ralph Lauren did that. Tom Ford to some degree, although I'm not sure. But yeah, those are the ones that to me move the needle, right? It's a little bit, because you have that in music too. You have people whose musical signatures have bled into like the sound of
absolutely.
pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
That's what Crystal Castles did in the mid 2000s, right? They like made that weird grungy, really punky electronic music.
A few other, I mean,
Grimes as well.
before that. No, there's people. Miss Kittin and the Hacker.
Oh, I fucking love Miss
Right.
Kittin the Hacker.
That's who really.
Oh my
that's who wrote the
god!
book.
I finally get to talk about Miss Kittin the Hacker on this podcast. Oh my god, Lost Tapes.
Yeah, that's
is-
where that
Oh
starts.
my!
And by the way, Crystal
I'm
Castles
so
will
happy
be the
right
first
now.
people
I'm
to tell
so
you.
happy
like,
right now.
And I'm
Oh
not
my
taking
God.
anything
I'm
away
over
from
the
the
moon.
people you
Yeah.
mentioned,
No,
but
no,
like
no.
Peaches, Miss Kittin and the Hacker.
Yes.
When we're talking about that lo-fi punk electronic thing, it's them.
I do think that there is something to the people that come after that first wave of like, this is the new sound.
Yeah,
and like
sort of.
Grimes with Visions or even Art Angels, which was a little bit later, making it
God
to a
spoke through an
billboard.
unshowered Canadian woman.
Yeah, like making it to a billboard and having it be such a popular
Sure.
song to where like your mom might be like, oh, I heard this song on the radio. I hate it, but like you have to hear this, right? Like
Yeah.
there's something to
Sure,
punching
sure, sure.
through, like the Bee Gees with disco, right? They weren't
Oh
the
yeah,
ones
yeah,
that
the
started.
crossover people.
Exactly.
But I don't. Having lived through that, Crystal Castles, Grimes, and stuff like that wasn't crossover to pop.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was still and some of it blew up more nowadays, but like
Yes.
it wasn't. It was very niche music.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah.
And no, I think, but what you're saying is that, and we're sort of saying similar thing between fashion and music, is that
Yes.
there's these people who come with like sonic or silhouette, whatever paradigm shifts, and then the stuff disseminates.
Yeah, of course.
And you see it everywhere, or you hear it everywhere.
I think that's why I love Daft Punk. I'll talk about them to no end, right? Michael's probably sick of this. But one of the really cool things that you can hear or track through their career, which I also really appreciate that they called it when they did. They started with Homework.
Yeah.
It was not the first of its kind, but pretty emblematic of that, like Detroit,
course.
new French touch. They worked their way up. They released Human After All, which is a little bit
Oh,
rocky.
you're skipping Discovery.
Of course. No. Discovery was
Oh,
hugely.
okay.
I'm just saying, like, they moved through, and then finally they got to Random Access Memories, which was probably their most commercially palatable.
It's my
maybe
least
outside of
favorite. It's
Discovery.
my least favorite one.
It's got some great songs. I don't think it's like anything that pushes the envelope super hard, but it got so big, and that was the one that won them 4 Grammys,
Yeah,
5
yeah.
Grammys, and then they were like, "Listen, like we can't really top that, and like we're done with this." I think that similar to fashion, you do something long enough and you do it well long enough, and you're able to adapt slightly to whatever the times are. Right? Keep yourself relevant. Keep yourself financially solvent. And at a certain point, you have to realize, like, there's nothing else I can do here for what I want to be doing.
That's
I'm
why
not gonna
Martin
compromise.
Margiela was like,
Fuck
"I'm
it, we're
good.
done."
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going to become a sculptor."
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's super endearing the way you speak about Daft Punk.
I fucking love Daft Punk.
Yeah.
When we started our band, we didn't know anything about electronic music at all.
Yep.
And then Discovery came out,
Yep.
and P and I were like straight up hip hop kids, and we had just come home from watching a movie called The Wedding Singer, which
With
Adam
Adam
Sandler?
Sandler?
yes,
Jesus Christ.
and it was one of the first movies that really sort of like made fun of 80s music.
Yeah.
And I was like, and we were like, yeah, we love this music low key. And then Discovery came out like a year later or like in the same time period. And we were like, man, there's a lot of that 80s stuff that like we should make this music, you know, sincerely and sort of wholeheartedly and that be our thing. So yeah, Discovery's, I mean,
Chromeo owes its success to Adam Sandler and
yes.
Daft Punk.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
To Daft Punk, Discovery, The Wedding Singer, Stuart Price, who I'm sure you know.
No.
Ah.
Fuck, you got
Got
me.
you.
Who's Stuart Price? Tell us about
Oh
it.
my God. Really?
I swear to God.
You're giving me Ralph Simmons lessons and shit. You're mansplaining me fashion. You don't know who Stuart Price is? Wow.
Tell us about Stuart Price.
All right. So Stuart Price produced Madonna's Confessions.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay. So he's got a few different aliases. British sort of producer wonderkind. He did Madonna's record, but before that, he did a project called Les Rythmes Digital. And that was the first sort of electronic heavily, I'll pull it out for you. I'll show it to you after. It was the first electronic, like heavily 80s album. And I think it's from 1999. And this was like when the 80s, by the way, you know how we talked about like the untouchable things in fashion? Like the stuff where like, I'm like, there's no way, they're going to do a steampunk collection. No. Or there's no way they're going to bring back the Levi's that twisted. Actually, they did. I saw that the other day. Right. Or there's no way they're going to do the sexy Sex and the City boot cut that goes over the shoe. Like stuff where we think this is never coming back.
Yep.
And so Le Rythme Digital did that with 80s music at a time
Interesting.
where 80s music was like considered, you're in the 90s. You're coming out of grunge. You're coming out of like Outkast fucking Stanko. 80s music is like the farthest thing you want to go towards. I don't know if that last sentence makes sense.
No, I get it with you.
So this guy goes and makes an electronic music record that references the 80s. And that was, so pivotal. And then Discovery came out shortly after. But then Stuart Price, he had different aliases, one called Thin White Duke.
Yeah.
The Killers remix. So that's him.
I know him from the Four to the Floor remix.
No, you're right. I do know him from the Killers remix. That's
Killers
weird.
remix, which is a masterpiece. And then he went on to produce stuff for the Killers and a bunch of like sort of big 2000s pop stuff from the UK. And he also Thin White Duke. Oh, and then he was in a band called Zoot Woman.
I don't know that.
You're going to thank me
Amazing.
so much.
I'm going to write this
So
down.
anyways, I'll just give it to you after. But anyhow, I forgot where I was going with. But his first Rythme Digital album, that was like, P and I heard that. And we were like, all right, this guy's going 80s. Daft Punk are going 80s. We just saw The Wedding Singer. What's the 80s? So what's the 80s thing that those guys aren't really touching that we like better? And since we were hip hop kids and like we just collected soul and funk, we were like, wait, 80s funk?
Yeah.
These guys are doing like New Order, Human League, that sort of 80s.
Yep.
But we're going to go Rick James. We're going to go.
Got it.
This was our steam. We're going to go because we loved that anyway. We were hip hop kids, right? So we were like Cameo, Rick James. And that was, we just found the sort of like vantage point, like the open lane. And that's where we went. So that's what we owe it to. And there was a little bit of trolling involved, but also sincerity. You have to have both. It's like it's kind of goes back to how you were breaking down your thing. Because like to me, that shirt is like it's crazy to wear this. Like, it's like, are you a high beast? Are you a fashion victim?
Every time I wear this,
what are you? What are you doing? But then I'm just like, this is kind of cool in a way.
Every time
you're like beyond irony.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing post-ironic.
Right.
This shirt, every time I put it on, I'm like, this is the loudest, most logoed up Balenciaga thing that I own.
Every time I put it on, I'm like, I'm taking this shit off.
But like at the same time.
But it's the thing that worked today. I tried on
the
3
Balenciaga
things.
is the wackest thing on earth ever made. No?
I love that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, they got
And
some
you like
cool
it
shit.
sincerely?
Sincerely, genuinely. I think he's doing really incredible things. I think it's very interesting to see him take, like...
The Simpsons thing was good. That was really good.
That's what gets you?
Yeah.
Damn.
The Simpsons thing,
cash grab?
I didn't think it was a cash grab. I think it was like the most, the funniest sort of... You know what turns me off with him, actually, is when he talks. Like what he says in interviews. I think ruins the whole thing.
Really?
Because if the clothes spoke for themselves, then it would be this sort of... You can't interpret what's going on. It's a statement on consumer culture.
Yeah.
It's a statement on poor taste.
I don't know if it is, though. That's part of the thing. To me, it is. So a lot of what you can see is if you look at old like Cristobal Balenciaga archive pieces, he takes directly from those. Everyone's like, oh, Cristobal would be rolling in his grave. He takes directly from those, and then he applies like just regular current clothing and like the like thrift market shit that he grew up with.
I know, and with that like kind of Eastern European Soviet thing and like the sort of gothy, Berlin thing. I think I'm hip to all the references, and I think it was funny for like 3 seasons. I don't know if it's timeless. I don't know if it's chic. I don't know if nowadays people can wear it without eliciting some sort of reaction of like, I don't know.
I think that's why you wear it, though.
Yeah, timeless is not.
Right?
Timeless has never once been something I have sought. I would
That's
say.
so interesting. Yeah.
Like
you're not at my level yet. But
And,
that's
like-
dope. Yeah, but you're more like on some performance.
yeah,
like,
I mean,
I love that too.
I would consider myself performative and not well. Yeah,
No. But it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, so like,
See how I'm nice? I'm nice with you guys.
Be
I
meaner to
could've-
Michael.
No,
It's
I
funny.
can't.
Yeah,
I like
shit
it
on me,
because
it's
I
fine.
like it. No,
I'm
'cause
25. I'll cry.
I just like I learned from it. I'm trying to.
I think that like,
I think it's cool.
a lot of the stuff that I'm wearing and that I
Yeah.
have continued to wear has gone out of fashion and back into fashion.
Sure.
Like I
Sure.
was
so
a
fast
Rick,
that I haven't kept. Right.
I was a Rick head through the least Rick years of all time, and then back
Which
into
was
the
what
most
years?
Rick. I feel like the like 20, we'll say like 16 to 20-ish era. Like people
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
care
nobody
that much
cares.
about him. Like
Yeah. Nobody
like,
cares now, do they?
No, he's
do? He's back?
huge
He's the
now.
biggest he's
like,
ever been.
He's
Really?
absolutely
On a
huge.
commercial level?
On a commercial level, on a gigantic like
Really?
not that
If you
the
want
stuff,
some attention on the internet, have Michael dress you in Rick and
Yeah.
just be like, new style
Well, no,
drop.
because I saw the the platform boots. I see kids wearing those.
Yeah.
So it's not just
Right.
those. It's like not as much people are wearing his like insane runway stuff, and they never have been. That's kind of for the
See,
head.
I slept.
But
Okay.
like, there's the standard Rick uniform of like a big pair of cargo pants and
the drop crotch with the
Yeah.
two. What about the two little the little,
the little
lace
drawstrings. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
And
back.
Fully covering a pair of like knockoff Converse or
Yes,
knockoff.
yes, I know those shoes.
You know,
Yeah. So
that
this
is
is-
so very very back. Like
Because this was the promoter outfit from 2012.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
That was the Hollywood promoter look, right?
This brings me all the way back around to the question I really wanted to
so
ask.
interesting. I love that. You know what? That just put me in a good mood. I like his shows a lot too. I like his look. He's a performance artist, and he's
Yeah.
fully committed to his bit. And he's also, one of the great rare American, like we said
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
sui
But
generis
he left
designers.
America. He abandoned America
He's
many
now in
years
Paris.
ago. But
Oh, okay, I see, I see.
he's fully
But he's
Italian.
still so LA, no?
Oh yeah, no. As a person, as a like designer, he made a Porterville, California themed collection.
What's that?
Porterville, California is the small
Town.
methy town he is from.
Oh wow!
He's from.
Small
Dope.
Betty
No.
Yeah.
This is good. Wow.
It is.
I'm
Yeah.
really curious to hear your opinion about the current state of music and fashion, having been in New York now for, you said since 2022. That's 23
2002.
2002. Sorry, I said 2022.
Yeah.
23 years, almost as long as I've been alive. Like, what do you see currently, especially within New York, in the realm of fashion and music that you're seeing that has come back around in your
we
time
know
here?
we know this. It's like the elephant in the room we didn't mention is like the whole indie sleaze thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Would you have ever? Well, so indie sleaze didn't really. The word indie
Didn't
sleaze
exist.
didn't exist.
No, of course not. When we were
Yeah.
the first time around,
Yeah, they didn't call it indie sleaze.
No.
Wait, were you photographed by Cobra Snake at
Big
both
time.
ends of the?
Of course, that's my boy. Of
was
course,
he? Was he doing the?
Of
the,
course,
Hell yeah.
I've got. Oh my God, I've ever dozens of times. He came to all our shows. He documented a tour of ours.
He's so sick.
so funny to hear you say. Yeah, of
well,
course.
because he photographs every fashion event we go to now.
Right,
He's
right,
like
right.
he's indie sleaze has given him like
sure a renaissance. And
renaissance.
man, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
Of course.
But the like indie sleaze is like a resurgence.
Somebody's gonna roast the Voss water. I know it. So
You
we might
wanna
as well
call it out,
acknowledge
get
it.
out
We
ahead
get
of
these
it?
boxes delivered. This is not me buying Voss water for the guests, but shout out to whoever delivers it.
Good
in the
coverage.
studio.
We
He's
would
making
like
us
to-
Venmo him at the end of this for all the Voss water we drink.
We would like to thank this episode's sponsor, Voss Water.
I know
for
you had to leave it on the thing. That and like the
Sorry.
effing vodka.
label out there. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So you're saying indie sleaze something?
The revival of it. How do you feel about that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Of course. There's nothing I mean, I love it. You'd be in music, you'd be hard pressed to find me hating on something. Yeah, I don't know, because this is like what I have to do every day. So like, I really, really, really try to love or find something I love in everything that I listen to, or at least, and it could be like a small part of it. It could
Okay.
be like a fragment of it, or just like the name of a band or a font. I don't know. It's you'd be hard pressed to catch me being like, this is trash. Like, there's stuff I don't like.
I'm curious
Can't
to know
think
what
about
you
any.
think is currently in its like '80s funk phase that right now is like untouchable. That in a year and a half we're gonna see somebody being like, "Oh, XYZ is back."
Smash Mouth.
Oh, okay.
Creed.
Sure.
Smash
So Creed's-
Mouth. But Creed are
Creed's
coming back.
holding
They're
it out.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so forget
Yeah,
Creed.
yeah.
But they're coming back in like distinctly an ironic way, I would say. I have not seen
whatever.
them.
That's how it
if-
starts.
But I want to. Of course, that's how it starts. I want to see like a little like smart aleck like 2002 Chromeo kid doing like Smash Mouth, Hooba Stank, Bare Naked Ladies. Like that. That is that has not been touched.
Stop.
Wait.
The reason rips at karaoke.
The reason is a fucking slapper. Love that shit.
Yeah.
Dope.
What is your karaoke song?
I have
Do you do Chromeo?
Oh, can you imagine? No, I get triggered when we're not on there, which is most of the times. And then I want to go home because my day is ruined. I get so like, I get humbled and I'm like, fuck that. We never. In fact,
I'm burning this place down and everybody in it.
more often than not. And I low key look like, let's see. No, maybe now Fancy Footwork will be my karaoke song. Got it. There's a few I do.
I feel like I wouldn't want to go to karaoke
No, I'm
with
not that
someone
nice.
with musical talent.
Walking in Memphis, which is kind
Oh,
of
hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
my one.
The Cher version or
No, the dude, or like I'm missing you at all since you've been like that kind of
Yeah.
blue collar '80s. I like doing, but I'm forgetting. There's other stuff I like to do. We thought LMFAO would never get a renaissance,
fuck.
and then Brat is full LMFAO.
One of them is a tennis player now.
That's dope.
Wait, Brat is LMFAO.
Of course it is.
It is LMFAO.
Oh my god.
What, you didn't realize that?
It's just
Brat is full.
That's a crazy take, but no, you're absolutely
no,
correct.
they'll be the first one to tell you. Brat it's LMFAO. It's like a G6,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's Fergie.
Yeah.
It's very Fergie.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear somebody doing
Wow.
what we call my brother and I call that the automatic systematic flow. Automatic, systematic, don't you know I'm just an addict? I just rock the Rick and shit and I'm a sonic, systematic. Fergie.
That's fucking Brad.
But it is. But that's why it's the greatest thing on earth, right? Because it just went there.
Yo, I was reading about Black Eyed Peas the other day.
Didn't get their flowers enough. Will.i.am's a genius.
I
Will.i.am's a
re-listened to the
genius.
END the other day. I was like, this album's
No, it's
fucking
incredible.
incredible. It's so
incredible.
good.
Like so Fergie left and they've replaced her with a different female. Like we've sort of ship a theseist.
Lincoln Park did that too, apparently.
Yeah,
Oh no,
well,
they
Linkin
replaced
Park
a
did-
guy with a girl. or something.
Yeah, but like Fergie
Did Nirvana did it with Post Malone is now Kurt
is
Cobain?
no way.
No.
They did like a revival thing.
That's
so
one
Dave
show,
Grohl
I
is
think, no.
okay. I don't know if it's a continual.
I think that Sublime with Rome should be done to more things. So I think we should do Nirvana with Rome, and I think we should do Black Eyed Peas with Rome doing Fergie's bits. Like I think that's
But point is, if you're asking to me what's untouched,
Yeah.
right now what I want to see, like I want to see like a Dime Square kid start a new band and for the references to be Smash Mouth. Then I'm like, bro, props.
Have the kids sold their turntables and bought guitars yet again?
Big time.
Oh really?
Yeah, are we back on?
Big time.
We're back on kids playing guitars.
I can get cheap Pioneer decks.
No, I think like the indie sort of like, those kids like Wallows and all those like the pretty boy indie shit.
Yeah.
Which I also, by the way, I what's the one I love? I love Royal Otis.
Yeah.
They're fire. I love all. In music, it's hard for me to hate. And yes, the elephant in the room was like the sort of indie sleaze stuff.
Yeah.
I like a lot of it. I love Frost Children.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love them. There's a lot of those bands I like. I mean, some of them, in fact, some of them for a band, and I don't know if you guys are like that in fashion. I bet you are. It's like you haven't had the song yet, but I love the idea. And I'll just wait till you get the song.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like that with a brand where you're like, I like the Instagram, I like the branding, the designer's clever, the clothes aren't yet what they need to be,
a really
but
good
I
point,
fuck with
yeah.
you.
And
It's good.
I think unfortunately that I do believe that a lot of the time, and unfortunately these days with like the carrying LVMHs, whatever the thing, if you don't hit your stride immediately as a creative director,
You're
they'll
out.
kick you.
Yes.
And it's I mean, not that I can think of anyone I strongly feel this way about, but it's probably happened.
I'm worried about Dublé
Yeah.
because they've been around now for
With who?
Dublé.
Dublé. It's a Japanese brand. They're very
They're
ironic.
very
up on
goofy.
very goofy, very ironic.
But like can keep the difference is with you know, I feel like with a song, right? Like you can listen to music, goof around in your bathroom or with your friends or in the car. You can put on let's go put on Avicii Levels and
That's a banger.
It's a great song.
banger, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're listening to Avicii Levels. We're laughing.
Yep.
We're reminiscing. We're doing funny dances, and then life goes on. But with fashion, you got to wear that shit all day, all day.
I think you can go play dress up. Like I
You
love
gotta
doing
wear
this with
that-
Michael,
you-
where you
okay,
like you
cool,
go to
but you're doing
you go
it
to,
for the internet. But me,
I wear that shit all day. Saul
good.
comes over and puts that shit on every now and then.
right? My point is,
I wear this shit all
No,
day.
I mean my
Oh.
my
Oh,
out
stupid
of
yeah,
shit.
everybody you guys are bringing up, fashion, I have a hard time. I don't. I mean, Jackmus, I don't like.
I tried to get into them.
Yeah,
I don't
fine.
like.
I don't think you have to like
And
that.
all these new designers, they're interns. They're just the interns of another big designer, and the companies are cheap.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, we're either gonna get, you know, one of the big dudes, and it's too much money, or we're gonna get the assistant, the guy who got the coffee fetcher, and he probably soaked up enough secondhand knowledge to do something cool. We'll build a narrative around it, and if we're lucky, we're getting ourselves like a Daniel Lee or whatever his name is. But more often than not, they do 3 good collections, 1 season, a little bit of buzz, and thank you, good night.
Yeah.
Or
I
it's
don't-
Ludovic de Saint-Sonan and they do 1 bad season and get kicked.
Yeah, where was he again?
And de Moulimeister.
Right, but he's kind of good, right?
Unless
Uh,
you're like the skinniest guy you've ever seen in your life, or a girl that really likes Coke, that clothing
Yeah,
is not for you.
I don't think I think that he did whatever he
Not
did.
no.
might be one thing, but like it wasn't Anne de Moulimeister.
Yes.
And I think since his removal, it has gotten close. Not that it's ever going to be Andy because she's making pottery or something. It's gotten closer to what it once was.
Yeah.
With him.
I'm hopeful for
hard to
Galici.
take.
Yeah.
He seems cool.
Who? Huh?
He's their
Galici.
new Stefano.
Oh, you guys
Stefano
really
Galici.
follow. Okay, you're. I need to kind of get back into the weeds of it. But yeah, I kind of got put off, and also the LVMHification of
Yeah.
everything, and you know another thing too is that like I was never a streetwear person. I mean, I like old school streetwear, not to be like, but whatever. Like, and I still love Supreme. By the way, that doesn't count. I love Supreme because the art collaborations that, and it's irreproachable. But I think with Virgil passing, there's a little bit of optimism that got lost. I liked him a lot because the clothes didn't really do anything for me, but I loved the spirit and the optimism and the sort of like the vector, the cultural vector that makes people dream and that motivates people.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that goes away, and then it's just like these giant conglomerates stuffing things down our throats. Most of them are bad. If you've got to say like, oh my God, I love the Vaccarello business suits, like, yeah, me too, I love them. But like, there should be 5 other things you're excited about.
Oh, I could do this all day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But no, I get exactly what you mean. I think
Yeah.
it's hard because
I'm probably
there's so many clothes coming out, which is sort of a byproduct of people having a desire and so much desire for new clothing and the
Yeah.
speed of
But that's also
consumption
super
speeding up.
problematic too.
Of course.
We didn't even talk about that. Is that like a lot of the stuff you're wearing you thrifted, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And a lot of stuff you wear came out a long time ago.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
I everything I get, well, so all the Balenciaga is like 4 years old. I got it from friends and family sales. It's the scraps they throw
The
it.
scraps.
Yeah.
I wear shit for like 11 years. I've got
Yeah.
I've got like 2010 Balmain shit.
Oh,
and
hell
I,
yeah.
And I wear it all
Well,
the
you got
time.
the jeans with the zippers on them?
I do not have those. The David Guettas. Those are like opium now, I heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're opium. I don't have the David Guettas, but I have
Wait. You know about opium, but you don't know Rick's back?
Yeah.
'Cause
I
Rick is-
barely know about opium. I barely know. I just know about opium. I know about it because I know music. I know
Yeah.
the music. I wasn't fully aware of opium as a fashion, but then I saw the meme that everybody saw of like opium is out, Dior Ohm's back in.
Yeah.
You know, so I saw that and I sort of dug into, but I didn't realize Rick, but now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I have stuff from like, 2010. I wear all the time. I have Balmain blazers I wear all the time. But everything we're saying now is that like we're in this conversation, you're bypassing like the actually problematic, environmentally dangerous production of clothes, and music doesn't have that. The songs on Spotify, I mean, yeah, maybe it's bandwidth that it's getting wasted, but like you can put out as many records as you want, it's not problematic for the planet. There's a big environmental problem with what you said about like producing a lot of clothes.
Yep.
And there's not enough kids to wear them because all the kids are thrifting anyway, and they're on Grailed
or trying to
anyway.
make their own brand, which is itself creating more stuff.
Well, yeah, but you gotta encourage that because at least they're not producing at the same scale,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
So it's cute, like it's dope.
I think something that goes underrated with smaller brands is that once you scale up to a certain amount, you have more say in what materials are used. And if you're producing under a certain MOQ, usually under 1,000
means
units,
what?
Minimum order
Oh
quality.
yes, of course.
The manufacturer will essentially just say,
Of course.
polyester or
Made in
whatever
China,
is cheapest.
something
Well,
says-
made in China isn't bad.
Yeah. No, I
they're
understand
really
what
good
you
with
mean.
recycling. But once you scale up, you can say, hey, please use recycled polyester. And the prices won't vary that radically because you're buying at scale. It's quite bad with...
And then what do you guys think of... This is kind of like a very basic question. But obviously, like, Fashion Week has become like such a, social media shit show. And it's easy to criticize it. But there's something to me, again, looking at it from a distance, that feels like some kind of aura or some kind of allure. Not velour. Allure. Recycled velour. Some kind of allure has been lost, or
I think CDFA has made it really hard for smaller designers to show, and it's gotten really expensive to throw a show.
But that's a disaster.
Yes.
So a lot of what you see is sort of just like big name brands that aren't doing that. They're kind of doing status quo. Like they're not.
But what I'm talking about, like, the sort of like the K-pop stars coming, and you've got 5,000 people outside of the show.
Yeah.
And it's so...
New York is not like that anymore.
Right.
And, except for like a few
The
choice
media
events.
frenzy, does it take some of the allure and the mystique away? Because I'm a big fan of something being hard to attain and to make you dream.
I want no phones. This is such. I'm 25 and I'm saying this. Like, I go out to clubs. I will go to fashion events, and it feels like people the entire time are just recording their time being there. And like again,
I think you should be allowed to take 2 pictures and that's it, and then
like
no
yes,
phones.
but like I get such a severe reaction if I'm ever dancing at a club or out in
not
Brooklyn.
at the club.
Yeah. And
I love that it's so good. Like, we need more people like you, like,
thank you,
avid music consumers.
Yeah. But
that's amazing.
I get like a fight or flight reaction when somebody takes a flash and it like hits me, and I'm like, what the fuck
I'm trying
are
to
you
throw
doing?
ass over here.
Yeah, like let me be weird and like kind of geek out in the middle of the dance floor. I don't want to get
Right.
my picture taken.
Yeah.
But my problem is, I think, twofold with Fashion Week. One is there's too much jockeying to just be photographed there and in a cool outfit.
Sure.
Which is also derivative of people showing up to the events not in what they actually wear, but what they're putting on to get photographed at the show.
Right.
One thing I commend Michael for a ton is we'll meet up to go to a show and he might be wearing a jacket, but it's not anything I haven't ever seen him in.
Yeah.
It's just the way he dresses.
you're
I
in
think that's
character.
more to
It's
say
like, that's
that
like
I-
me and Pete.
Yeah.
We just dress
Exactly,
the way we
right?
dress.
And I
Sure.
think that's important.
Yeah.
But I think part of the mystique of Fashion Week was that it was, at least back in the day, from a 25-year-old, just like from what I can glean, people going, and it was in Bryant Park, and it was
I remember
it
going
was
to that.
insiders, and they would show up, obviously peacocking slightly, but there was that like, we're just going and watching the shows.
The peak era too is like 2010s Tommy Ton, Petit Womo, kind of like, you know what I mean?
Sky
Like,
Ferraria at the 2014.
even before that, just like the menswear sort of like Petit Womo, street style photos. I thought those were really good. I think
Street style is really tough now.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because I think that people message street style photographers like, hey, meet me here so you can take this
Well,
photo.
It's like paparazzis, right?
Yeah.
I want to have the same attitude as I have towards music, where it's like, I'm going to find something, because I have to make music every week.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So if I start being like, yo, this sucks, I'm finished.
Yeah.
I have to go look at something, even something that people hate on, like the Drake Party Next Door album, the thing that
the
just
one
came
that
out.
just came out.
I think it's incredible.
I
it's
haven't listened.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And everybody hates it, but I have
I think
to.
I think the people on the internet are contractually obliged to hate Drake right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair
which
enough.
is crazy. But you know what? You might say the same thing about me and Demna. Like, you're just like, Dave, you're basic. You don't understand Demna's greatness. And so I need to be. I need my chakras to get opened to find things where I'm like, yo, this is fire, because I'm having a lot of trouble.
I do think that I can look at. I mean, you know, I think you and I and so all of us view fashion in a very different way, and I can, you know, you have to sort of put aside the fact that that fashion is problematically wasteful and has all these capitalist issues and whatever's going on. It's exclusionary. I think I can still look at something and find something I like in it.
That's great.
Almost regardless. I think to talk about the like what New York Fashion Week thing is like.
I meant Fashion Week in general. Even Paris.
Yeah. So Fashion Week in general, I think it's good that it's more accessible.
Yes.
Like it's now got to the point where there are like every New York Fashion Week. It used to be like there's no point in showing up anywhere if you're not like connected on a list, famous, whatever. And now there's events at least for people who are interested in the hobby that they can show up at and they can like actually feel like they are participating. And I think that's very important. But that also lets it open to the people who are just sort of there for like being seen or like who people aren't genuinely interested, I guess.
Another elephant in the room that we talking about fashion too is like, and then I wonder what happens is sales are declining across the board.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
a
there's
disaster.
so much more stuff, and so all those sales are getting spread out.
Yeah. And all the there's
Brands are
alternatives.
tanking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the great brands that you thought would sell forever are tanking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes I wonder when you have something that's so quote unquote pop, like when you have events and shows that are so open, right? Have become, like you said, so accessible and so celebrity driven. When you have so much clothing getting produced, these giant luxury conglomerates pumping money into it, and no one's buying it.
Yeah.
Because you're buying, I'm not buying it, you're
Yeah.
not buying it, you're not buying it.
Yep.
No one's buying it. Kids certainly aren't buying it. They're thrifting all day, right? So the only people who are buying it is like, I don't know, like Chinese billionaires.
They're getting it gifted.
Those
sometimes.
those brands are kept afloat by whales with no Instagram.
Okay, fair enough.
Wow,
there
that's
are-
super interesting.
They're like
Wow. Okay.
having like spoken to some people who work at these places,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
there will be like whatever, you go to the Rick store, you look around, you like
Right.
spend you're you know
Spend your hard-earned $900, get something, you're so stoked.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody else who's coming
Yeah.
in, dropping like 300 grand, buying the whole collection.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It kind of like they kind of don't care if you go in and treat it like a museum because they know that whatever money is in your bank account, all of
Yeah.
it, nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
What
I
helps
don't know
is
if Rick is
the-
afloat. I'm wondering. I mean, I want to see the
Oh
P&Ls
no, Rick!
for those things.
Rick's
is
doing great.
Rick
with
is
like
doing well.
The most basic
He's
stuff.
also
Okay.
he's like one of the last fully independent designers.
True.
Yep.
So he bought his factory
Oh, that's cool.
like 10 years ago, almost
we
9
need the
years
Rick
ago.
Tech Talk. We need the Rick. We need the Rick Tech
So-
Talk on how to make your business sustainable.
Rick owns his factory and essentially like runs the town of Concordia, Italy, where
Wow, dope.
most of his employees live.
Where
and
your
it's,
next
like-
vacation.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Right. This is where
So-
you go.
Michael's joining the company town.
Yeah, he's just going.
They're giving me script. They're paying me in company dollars, so I can't leave. No, but like he's doing. I don't know the nitty gritty of his finances,
Yeah.
but he's doing well enough that I think he's growing quite a lot, and he's continuing to experiment and do risky shit in a
Yeah.
way that not a lot of people are.
Something I'll say about the way I think particularly you both and me as well engage with clothing that I love so much is that something is purchased and it's sort of an occasion, right? Like Michael looks for certain Rick stuff forever. I know he looks for certain Kozaburo pieces every day,
What's
right?
that? What's Kozaburo?
Great brand.
God,
What-
I love Kozaburo.
Let us put
you
you
guys
on.
got to put me on to all
Kozaburo,
this shit.
he's based in Brooklyn. He's a couple miles from here.
That's
Yeah.
great. That gives me hope, I guess. 'cause-
I feel
he's-
like some of it might fit into what you
Yeah,
like.
he's a Japanese designer. His whole thing has been like he's a former Buddhist monk.
He was also in a punk band.
and
I
he was in
think.
a punk band prior to that. Yeah,
Yep.
him and his friend who went to Buddhism school were in a punk band together. He does he has a lot of Western influence, but it's in such a like like you don't look at it and think cowboy immediately, but
Yeah.
Which Visvim kind of does,
Yeah,
right? That's
it's-
very that sort of fetishist.
It's
Yeah.
a little bit less boho Native American chic and a little
Yeah.
bit more like American West romantic.
a little more like outlaw
Oh,
kind of.
cool. Yeah, that's fun.
It's wonderful. It's interesting because I talk about this a lot. Kozaburo is one of my favorite brands of all time.
Yep.
He's known by pretty much everyone I've ever spoken to in the fashion community.
Says a lot about me. That shows I'm not in the community.
No,
it's
everyone who's-
good.
You're
I'm
in
an
the
outsider.
music. You're
Yeah.
you're a
I remember
musician first.
I
and
used to
foremost.
love that brand Number 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I used to
Yeah, yeah,
love
yeah.
them.
Yep.
I even had a couple of shirts from them. There's a Complex magazine, like "What Are You Wearing" article from like 2008. I'm wearing like a Burberry Porcelain trench, APC
Nice.
jeans,
Nice.
Margiela boots, and a
Hell
Number
yeah.
9 shirt.
APC jeans sized down 3 times so you get the sick fades.
Yeah, of course. I love those. Anyways, go on. But yeah,
yeah,
Number
so-
9 I
so-
thought was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Kozaburo is like someone that all of the like fashion people I know
Okay.
know him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 30,000 followers on Instagram. He's like a
Is that
very
a lot or not a lot?
That's
Not a
for
lot.
A,
Tiny.
for a
Yeah.
brand that
Right.
for a brand of his like success, I would say that's incredibly small.
Yeah.
Like my personal and the podcast account have more followers than
Yeah.
him.
Wow.
But he
How
is
come you're not following me? He started following me today.
my fault. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Him-
See,
I
Saul.
was going for a dap for him.
No,
So-
I get that.
Saul,
That's mine.
Thank you, Saul.
I'll do it. My phone is recording right now.
Yeah.
Could you give me a second?
Okay. We'll see. We'll talk about this after. I followed right back, Saul.
The it's interesting because he's like well known by the fashion community and very successful, but doesn't have like Instagram numbers that show that as
Yeah.
much. But still, I don't know. He's just very interesting.
You guys
to me.
got
I
to
love
teach
him.
me how to like, for instance, what's Bode?
Bo-
No,
we
I
don't
can't
like
teach you how to like
Bodhi
Bodhi. I
sucks.
can teach you how to hate
Bodhi
Bodhi.
sucks shit. No. Let's
You found the one brand.
Yeah,
No, so
I don't
real quick.
know, because like
to conclude on my point, I like any clothing that people buy and will wear in earnest to death, right? If you
Right.
truly love something you own, these
Yeah.
pants have now been repaired twice because
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
busted
yeah,
through
of
the
course.
crotch,
Sure.
right? Like I will
Yeah, I
wear
have
this
that
shirt
too.
until it's tattered.
yeah,
That's
My
amazing. That's what
2010 Balmain shit.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it should be.
Yes,
Bodhi,
yes.
you're trying
especially if
to.
it's expensive. Like
Yeah.
there need
Yeah.
to be. It's almost like a family heirloom. Like
Emily Bodhi is sitting there and saying, "Hey, I will sell you a $1,300 ticket to that," and it's so lame,
ticket to
right?
that. What do you mean by that?
So
They're selling the idea of like having these heirloom clothes that you own for.
it's loser
but
shit.
the clothing is not good.
No, well, it's less that it's good. It just sort of looks like shit, and it looks
I
wrong
see. Oh,
because
see,
it's
yeah.
like pretend. It's like Marie Antoinette having her like fake town where she
Right.
like got to play
Yeah,
play
yeah,
peasant.
yeah.
It's that just
Cosplay.
in
Interesting.
the Lower East Side with burlap sack jackets.
Gotcha.
It feels
yeah.
very disingenuous.
Okay.
I guess I lied when I said. Oh, actually, you know what? I could probably find you a Bodhi outfit that I like
Yeah,
if
of
I
course.
had to.
And there's an
Like,
exception to every rule.
Yeah. I mean, it's against what I was saying with music. Like, I could play you a Calvin Harris song.
Yep.
And you guys would be like, Dave, what are you doing? And I'd be like, nah, listen to the hi-hat.
Wait,
Wait, no,
first of all,
Well, I love Calvin
this
Harris.
is what
Yeah.
you came for. One of the greatest songs of all time.
I'm a massive Calvin Harris fan.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah.
say, I mean, Nickelback. And I could be like, actually, don't sleep on this.
I think you're gonna struggle to find music we don't fuck with in some capacity.
Great, amazing. But I'm struggling to find contemporary fashion that excites me. And I don't want to be the guy who's hating, cynical, kind of
I
just
don't
who
think
doesn't
you
have the
are.
right
I have a
lens.
theory about this, genuinely. I think that because you're in New York and you don't have a ton of time, I assume you're walking around and seeing things in stores rather than solely being online.
Yeah, I'm not online.
Okay.
very much.
I think
I'm online.
some
I'm
of-
on the wrong line.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
reading The Economist, wanting to kill myself.
I love first of all, I love The Economist. Let's not shit on The Economist.
Same. Huge fan. We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
You're like a mini me.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
you
both,
are
we're both
kind of.
neurotic Jews.
We're neurotic Jews. We're tall. You're a music nerd. You're like a mini me, except I wish I was as handsome as you when I was 25. You are kind of a mini me.
If I have your hairline when I'm in my 40s, I
Yeah.
would be over the moon.
well, we'll
Point
see.
being, I think that a lot of the buys, especially in stores in New York, are not very good. And the things that you'll see in New York in stores from these like CHCM, there's no more opening ceremony. I actually think you'd like Studious if you went in. They do a pretty
You'd
good
like
buy
Studious.
and a good
Really?
curation. I think
How do I not know what Studious
they
is?
just opened.
Yeah,
It was like
it's,
2
it's
months
a
ago.
Japanese. It's a Japanese like multi-brand store, mostly like kind of austere suiting.
Do you know what
Oh, yeah.
opening ceremony is?
Of course.
Okay,
Come on.
it's that but Japanese.
from
It's
2000.
that but
Dude.
Japanese. It's
Bro,
that
I
but
used to go
Japanese.
every week.
Okay,
Bro spent his
So-
first paycheck at opening ceremony.
I did. And at Odin, do you know what
Yes,
Odin
yes,
is?
they're still
Yeah.
around.
You got a lot of nerve. He went opening
no.
ceremony. All my friends used to work there. Like, bro,
You
I
were
went to
Celine.
like
They
every.
didn't stock it.
But I didn't
He
wear it
moved
back
to
in
New
the
York
day.
I know.
He's
I was wrong for that.
Sleaze
I'm sorry.
2002 New Yorker.
Dave, I'm sorry. That's
That
on
was
me.
so
I'm
sweet,
sorry.
though. No, it's cute. I love it.
Point being, I think that a lot of the buys that are happening in New York stores are not very good.
I also have to plug, and I don't know if you
Plug.
would find plug. I don't know if you'd find anything there that you would wear. Or
I like that brand from my brother. My brother wears a lot of that brand Sakai.
Okay,
I think it looks great on him. You don't like that? I love it.
The
think it's a
thing that
cop-out.
I don't like about Sakai.
Cop-out?
Hold on. Every really cool designer who makes fun, like, great example is the people behind Carhartt Whip. They made Carhartt Whip so they could afford Sakai. They're independently rich, but like they don't wear any of their own shit. They're just like, yeah, fuck with Sakai. Like,
Oh,
it
Sakai's a
seems-
thing now? It's a
Oh,
meme?
it's yeah.
It's like
Sakai's a meme?
no, it's not a meme.
And no more than any other brand is currently a meme.
It's
But
like
it's
Bodhi for
borderline?
techwear guys, kind of.
Oh,
And again, they make really
you
cool
don't have
stuff.
to tell your well.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell
The
him.
Sakai,
Because it looks really good on
the
him.
Sakai and Carhartt stuff, pretty cool.
Also,
Yeah, it's
also
very
the
cool.
thing is, you're talking from this is very different worlds.
Yeah, you guys
Like,
are inside
I'm
baseball.
25.
Yeah, you're
But we-
inside baseball.
we
But I
also-
love that. I love this.
if I get to tell A-Trak what's cool, like, there's no
Well,
chance, right? I'm so sorry.
No, he's but my brother doesn't care as much as I do. He looks good.
Your
on
brother,
him.
your brother ran with the people that I like idolize every day.
Yes.
I can't tell him
So
what's cool.
I think that like
He is the standard.
But
I'm
he's-
chasing that.
Aw.
we approach it like Saul and I
No glazing.
have a really
I'll glaze anybody that worked with Daft Punk at any point in their career.
Saul and I view clothing
Earnestly.
from like a very like I'm not going to wear all of that stuff, so I'm going to be very critical of it in like really different ways. Whereas like if you find something and you look good in it and you
of
like how you look,
Of course,
that's
all
the
that
fucking thing.
counts.
That's
Of
what you wear.
100%. And and it's got to feel to me, I guess. And again, unless you're performing in Balenciaga heels, which is like another level of, I respect that. But like, mostly when you've reached a certain age, you just want like timeless looking stuff,
Yeah, of course.
elegant looking stuff, or stuff that makes you look comfortable in your own skin, and also something that's flattering to your, body type or silhouette,
No, I think
whatever
that's
that
fair.
may be, doesn't matter. There shouldn't be just one way to look, and also something that I like the idea of uniforms. That's
Yeah.
kind of why I dress the way I
I wear the
dress.
same jeans every day.
Yeah, I love a uniform. Serge had a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
He to me is fashion, sort of icon or whatever you want to say.
Serge the Daft Punk. Who's Serge?
Serge Gainsbourg. Serge Gainsbourg. Serge Gainsbourg.
Thank
know
you,
him,
thank
and
you
know-
for Englishifying
You
it for
know
me.
who that is. Stop
Yeah,
playing. You're
big.
trolling me.
I actually don't off the top of my head, and also
You're
you said
trolling
Serge,
me.
and I thought you meant Serge Tankian for a second.
Who's Serge Tankian?
Lead
Oh, the
singer,
System of a Down.
Down.
Oh my god! Actually, though, that's another one. That's another one that we were talking about, like the sort of point of no returns. Like if Demna comes out with like the Soul Patch collection, I'm just like, all right, cool. If we're doing
they
Nickelback,
did a Rammstein.
He did David Beckham. We're hurtling towards
Yeah.
no,
Soul
but
Patch.
we're hurtling towards like 2000s metrosexual faux hawk. Big
I think
time.
you have to stop at Soul Patch, right? Because Soul Patch is like post metrosexual.
Soul Patch is it's it's 90s, and it's also it's 90s, and then it became what my friend calls like blues lawyer. Like a blues lawyer. It's like a lawyer who's like got tons of money and plays blues on like a very expensive guitar, but only weekends.
I have no idea. This is
I
a
don't know.
guy.
I
It's a
now
guy,
know
of
what
course,
you're talking
of course.
about. Like,
It's John Varvatos, reads a
Hell
magazine
yeah.
called
You've hit it. Okay, yeah.
Cigar Aficionado, has a $25,000 guitar, makes a shit ton of money, and on the weekend is like in his man cave.
Hell
Sick.
yeah.
That's what I do.
I kind of fuck with him.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's like your girlfriend's cool dad.
If you're your age, yeah. Me, it's more like my lawyer, and like maybe
Are
my.
you describing your actual lawyer right now?
I could. I'm not, but I could. No, I'm not. My lawyer's like a neurotic Jew, but you know what I mean, or like like rich Beverly Hills dentist on a weekend, Varvatos head to toe, Soul Patch. Everything is weathered, and everything is patinaed.
Sure.
Right? Man Cave has like everything distressed.
Okay.
Right? And then a nice distressed guitar, soul patch, loves a good glass of Cabernet,
Sure.
expensive cigars, and just like, you know.
He's pulling out guys we've never talked about.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's
Pretty
do part.
incredible.
Let's do part 2, and let's do part 2 with an iPad and like pull out examples.
Yeah.
You
We
know
have
what
an
I mean?
List of
editor if
guys.
you really want to.
We could do
start-
that, and then we'd be like, what cologne does he wear? What music does he listen to?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You know, what brands does he love? And then you get
Yo,
into the
you
sort
could.
of
Like
Shock.
Aqua de Gio or whatever. That's
Creed Aventus.
Creed Aventus.
Creed
yeah.
Aventus,
Okay,
dude. Aqua
yeah.
de Gio was when he was taking the bar. He looks down. This is Creed Aventus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know enough guys.
I know this. The thing
You
is,
know what this is.
I couldn't do types of guy like this off the top of my head. But the second you say that, I'm like, oh, I know him.
Yeah,
Blues
yeah.
lawyer, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
In a great figure in our community, in the manosphere.
Yeah.
And you know what's good actually about the blues lawyer is, I will say this guy still a liberal. He didn't get. He's not a piece of shit.
Is his wife a little turfy?
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a little bit. You don't bring up.
They're in the
women-
suburbs.
you
They don't understand.
Yeah, you don't. No, you don't bring up women's sports at dinner. but he's still a liberal. You know what I mean? Like,
His heart's in the right place.
heart's in the right place. Loves blues, Muddy Waters, loves that shit. Varvatos, Cafe Racer jacket,
Sure.
soul patch,
Yeah.
man cave that looks like Soho House.
What is he? He drives like an old Bronco or something performatively?
No, has a dope. No, has a dope like Triumph motorcycle.
Oh,
and
okay,
then,
yeah.
And then
My
there's
bad.
probably
Yep.
like a dope Porsche, like the brand new whatever, not the Cayenne, whatever. The
911?
new could do that. Weekends only.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why we went on that tangent, but
That's a type of guy.
That is a
that's the type
guy.
of guy,
Yeah,
and
damn.
that's the Varvatos man.
Amazing.
I was trying to explain John Varvatos to Saul
Yeah.
literally like 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Why didn't I just
look-
say Carlos Santana?
Rob Thomas, smooth. That's all you need to
It's
know.
the-
I thought it was just All Saints for old guys. It kind of
it
is.
kind
Kind
of
of
is.
is,
It
yeah.
kind
But
of
it's
is.
just like it's much more like patinaed and much more
Soho House.
decorated.
You're
Soho
mad with me
House.
that I don't know this.
Soho House couch,
Yep.
but make it a cafe racer. Everything distressed, everything patina.
Yep.
And just think blues. Think classic rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
think Aerosmith, but today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Or think Springsteen, but today.
Okay.
Wow.
You know,
But
Like, just-
Springsteen today is still killing that shit.
he's still
so-
killing that. Actually,
Yeah.
he looks great in that.
He does, yeah.
He looks
The-
great in
Fucking
that.
I was also.
No,
I,
he's the goat.
I go on and on about Springsteen.
He
One of
goes
my
crazy.
favorites.
in
This is full
performances.
Springsteen.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is-
yeah. No,
I
it
mean,
is,
he's-
yeah.
It's. My parents had like a record of his from like before Born to Run when I was a kid, and I used to be like, "Fuck, I wish I could look like this guy." He's fire. But anyways, yeah, we could talk. We should do another. We'll do part 2 because I have to dip.
Oh,
We'll
shit,
do.
my bad.
We'll do part 2, and we'll talk about the Varvatos man. We'll talk about the Demna man. We'll talk about the Rick man.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
We'll
be
talk
here.
about the
Lower
Bode,
East Side douchebag.
the Bode man.
Yeah.
And what else? I'm trying to think. What else were we going to talk about?
The vintage man.
The vintage boy.
The vintage.
I
boy.
mean, yeah, this is another thing that I think is fun and funny about, fashion stuff is like discussing archetypes and
Yeah, of
like
course.
having fun with that, right? Like that's
Yeah.
So before we get out of here,
Of course,
we
please.
do
Sorry.
Song of the Week.
Yeah.
We have a big playlist of a bunch of songs from both Michael and I and all of our guests on the season.
fun.
We need to do that. We need to do a Discord code, and then we need to do the outro.
Let's go.
Michael, do you want to start us out with a song of the
I'm
week?
sorry, I didn't mean to end, but like
No,
No. This.
I
Honestly,
just realized we've been going for 2 hours.
2 hours.
This
That
is nice.
We
This is
hit.
long
We
form.
really got way into the stride
Okay.
there. It's
Yep.
it's very rare that we get all the way to 2 hours without noticing.
great.
So no, that was perfect.
Song of the week, Michael.
I think I'm gonna go with Light Tunnel by Paranoid London.
That's a great song.
I've been.
what is that? I don't know what
it's
that
just
is.
Paranoid London is like repetitive, like hard techno
it's
kind of
like
beats.
post acid house
Yeah.
trance.
but then someone
What's our BPM on that? 140?
I want to say 145.
Okay, yeah.
If I were to guess.
and then someone
Alright.
comes over it and just says like the weirdest
Light
shit
Tunnel.
you've ever heard.
down below.
Sucking
Yeah.
up dust,
Right.
eating glue.
Horde Berlin. I know
Yep.
where you're. You're
Yeah.
in that bathroom in Berlin spinning that.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh yeah, the fucking.
You're in there.
Yeah.
What about you? What's on the playlist?
Well, do you
Dave?
first, and then
Okay. I will add. Oh wait, I had one that I really wanted to add. Sorry, I'm 0 for 2 now. I'm doing "Jump and Shout" by Basement Jacks. Is that on there? Okay, it's not. "Jump and Shout" by Basement Jacks.
cool.
Yep.
we talked about so many different things. We're gonna do Clax. We're gonna go Bloghouse because we're gonna do Klaxon's "Gravity's a Rainbow" Vanshi remix, Vanshi tech mix, and that's another big Charlie Bratt reference.
I think I only see the Soul Wax one on Spotify.
Oh, shit.
Unfortunately.
Okay. It's a good one too, though. We're gonna do Feist, "My Moon, My Man,"
Oh, hell
Boys
yeah.
Noise remix. Boys Noise remix, one of my favorite remixes of all time. We're gonna do that.
I don't think I've heard the.
One of the rare songs where the remix is better than the original.
Oh.
The other one being
I also just want to compliment you.
remix.
Michael and I were talking about this. Greenlight remix, amazing.
Oh, thank
you. guys
you.
did a very good job on that.
Thank you. I
think it's
appreciate
really
that.
hard to remix.
Oh yeah, Saul
Lord.
was. Yeah.
That was a doozy.
I was gonna say
Hard.
very
hard.
very good remix.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to do.
Saul
Yeah.
was telling me it's the only good Lord remix he's heard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well
Yeah,
done.
we're proud of that one.
One last thing. We have a Discord. We usually have to do this in the middle of the episode.
Are you
we got
guys?
distracted.
Are you guys terminally online? Is that?
Yeah,
a little bit, right?
I'd say terminally
I'm
online.
terminally online, but like I read like the worst news. I read
Yeah,
like
you're like terminally online in your 40s.
you're whack though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of that. No, I'm terminally online.
Download
since,
that TikTok app.
since January 6th, 2025. It's like the worst time to be terminally online.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, so we have a Discord.
Yep.
Lovely place to hang out.
Cool.
We always ask our guests to
Yes.
give us a password.
Yeah.
So that people can prove they've listened to an episode, at least
Dope.
one. What is our password?
Schmuck.
Schmuck.
Amazing.
Message us schmuck if
Yep.
you would like to join the Discord.
Before we get out,
Yes.
Dave, take the floor. I'm sure people know where to find you, but tell the people where they can find you, send shout outs, whatever you'd like to do. And then I will do our outro.
Oh, shout out to people who braved through 2 hours of this shit. At Dave1 with the number 1 on Instagram. At Chromeo on Instagrams. I don't know the other apps, but it's the same thing. And shout to everybody who, I don't know, how many people are going to listen to 2 hours of this shit? Maybe more than we
A
think?
good amount of
Good
people
number.
get through it, yeah.
Well, then shout
My
to you
mom
guys.
will listen to all 2 hours.
Shout to your mom. Shout
yeah.
to your mom. Shout to your mom.
Shout out to my mom.
Shout to your mom. Shout
Thank
to
you so
Michael's
much
mom.
to everybody for listening to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Pair of Kings Pod. As always, I'm your host, Saul Thompson. You can find me on Instagram at Saul Thompson. I'm joined this week not only by my wonderful co-host,
I'm Michael Smith. My Instagram is @_Smithstagram.
but
I would
also-
know. He doesn't follow me.
I'm doing it within the next 30 seconds.
Hurry your ass up.
I'm gonna run.
There's an expiration date on that follow back, my friend.
and also Dave Macklovitch of Chromeo. You can find him on Instagram at Dave1, the number 1.
Yep.
Thank you so much to everybody for listening. Don't forget to head over to herohero.co/PoK if you'd like early access to episodes, extra episodes, and more. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, have a happy Tuesday. Thursday, have a happy Thursday. Take care, everybody. And as always, this has been the Pair of Kings podcast, where once a week, every week for the foreseeable future, we are bringing you business as usual tomfoolery as planned. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
30 seconds. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. On this episode, we are joined by Dave Macklovitch of Chromeo to talk about his personal style, some current fashion trends that are invigorating, ones that are bad, and music in general. We hope you enjoy, and here is the theme song.